Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, Parallel Deku, back with another fanfiction. This is the series of What If Deku Became the Shadow Monarch? Now before starting, please give this video a like. And subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Thinking. Speaking. Casting. Embarrassed face. Hi. My name's Kuragari Shur, and this is the story of how I became the Shadow Monarch. Let's go. IRL start. Shur's POV. Shur was walking home from another day at school. Today was the same as usual. I should play that new game I just got yesterday. I mean, there's no time like the present. He smiled and sprinted home. Time skip. Okay, so I took a bath and finished my homework. Now I can play the game. He booted up the system and put on the gear, and was teleported to a white and blue room. Plus input name plus. What should my name be? It can't be my real name. He thought for a while about what his name should be. My name should be Void, just because I want to. Plus choose your weapon plus. Whoa, which weapon should I choose? Sword, short sword and shield, twin daggers, warhammer, or staff? He thought for a moment about what weapon he wanted. I'm going to choose the twin daggers because why not? And now for the stats, I got 100 SP to spend. As he finished putting all his points, he took one final look and pressed start. Welcome to NWO. Character sheet. Level 340. Weapon, twin daggers. Stats, AGI, 37. 38. Dex, 25. Chapter end. Thinking. Speaking. Casting. In the starting village of NWO. Shur's POV. Wow, so this is what NWO looks like. He said as he looked around the village and all the players passing by. I should explore what this village has to offer first. He smiled and started to walk wherever his feet took him, but not long after he heard a voice. He looked in the direction of the voice and saw a girl with black hair and an ahogue, wearing beginner clothes and carrying a large shield, asking another girl with blonde hair, who wore a mage robe and carried a staff. The black-haired girl asked, I want to fight monsters, but I don't know where to go. The blonde-haired girl replied, Oh, you're a beginner? There's a forest west from here with monsters that are perfect for leveling up at the start. Even if you stay still, you'll still get approached by quite a few. Thank you, I'll go check it out, said the black-haired girl. A forest west from here good for leveling up. I'll go check it out later. Right now, exploring the village is what I'll do, he said and continued walking to the shopping district of the village. Time skip brought to you by Shur Window Shopping. All the items are either expensive or more expensive. I should get money so I can buy something, he said while walking to the residential area of the village. There, he looked at all the houses and the NPCs. These houses look so real, and all the NPCs act so lifelike. Technology has really advanced to make VR look like real life. While he was thinking to himself, he saw a house with its door slightly open, enough to see an old man lying on the bed, having a coughing fit. The old man looked towards the door and saw him. The old man raised his hand and called out, You there, boy, come here. Shur opened the door but didn't go inside. Sorry, sir, but I'm not supposed to go into a stranger's house. The old man laughed heartily and said, Boy, how can I do you any harm? I am bedridden and old. True, Shur replied, then went inside. The old man pointed towards a chair. Sit down, make yourself at home, he said, and Shur did just that. Then the old man said, Can you stay with me until my last breath? A screen then showed quest, stay with the old man until his last breath. Reward, unknown. Accept YNY. Time skip brought to you by Shur and the old man having fun telling stories and talking to each other. After the old man finished his story about his life filled with faith, grief, betrayal, and war, he started coughing violently. Shur rushed to get him a glass of water but was stopped by the old man. My time has come. Thank you for fulfilling this old man's selfish wish, and sorry for wasting your time. You didn't waste my time, I actually enjoyed your stories, and no one deserves to be alone when they're about to leave this world, Shur said to him. You are a kind young man. Here, take this, It's not much, but please take it as a thank you for staying with me. May you live a long and joyous life, the old man said with his last breath, holding out a map. And may you find peace in the afterlife. Then particles started to swirl, and the old man was no more. Quest, complete reward, map to the dungeon of the Shadow Monarch. Map to the dungeon of the Shadow Monarch, huh? I need to level up first before I go dungeon diving. What did that blonde girl say again? Go west from the town square. Then to the west I will go. Character sheet. Level 340. 340. Weapon, twin daggers. Stats. AGI, 37. 38. Dex, 25. 0. Chapter end. Thinking. Speaking. Casting. At the forest. Sher's POV. The blonde girl said this is the place where you level up at the start. So let's take on some monsters. As he was saying this, a monster that looked like a rabbit made of apples appeared. Hi there, bunny. Get ready to be pie. Why did I say that to something so cute? As Sher was pondering his choice of words, the apple bunny charged straight at him. He managed to dodge it at the last second but tripped over a tree root. As he tried to regain his footing, the apple bunny bumped into him, causing him to lose his balance. Okay, time to get serious, he said as he steadied himself and faced the bunny. The bunny rushed at Sher, but he blocked it with his daggers and slashed 3 times, turning it into particles and marking Sher's first victory. Your level has increased to level 2. How can something so cute also be a monster? Oh well, at least I leveled up and got 5 extra SP to spend. I should put it all into VIT so I won't go down easily. Okay, done with that. Now time for some grinding. So I'm going to be here for a while. Time skip to Sher defeating more apple bunnies. Your level has increased to level 5. Sher received a notice as he finished defeating another bunny. Nice, I'm level 5. I should keep this up so, a notice screen suddenly appeared, power slash, a powerful slash with stored up energy. MP, 12. Accelerate, boost your ATK AGI by 3% for 5 minutes. MP, 20, what? I didn't just get 1 skill but 2, and from the looks of it, both are amazing. Power slash and accelerate are both extremely useful skills. As Sher read the descriptions of his skills, he accidentally caught the attention of a group of menacing-looking bugs that let out a loud cry, startling him. He stopped reading, looked up, and saw 10 poisonous bugs charging toward him. He muttered, "Oh no." Third-person POV. Sher ran as fast as he could while being chased by the bugs. "Can you not chase me, please?" he asked politely, but was instantly met with a loud cry from the leader of the bugs. Well, at least I tried. I need to escape, but how? Sher scanned his surroundings, searching for a way to outsmart the bugs. Then he got an idea. I should use the trees to my advantage and take them down one by one. Just as he formulated his plan, he felt a sharp sting on his back, poisoned. His HP began to drop, and he realized he hadn't bought any antidotes, only 5 HP potions and MP potions from the start, 2 of which he had already used. HP, 85 120 MP, 25 80. Sher glanced at his health and felt relieved that he still had a decent amount left. I should stick to the plan since I still have HP and a good amount of MP. He proceeded to climb the trees, activated Accelerate, and jumped from branch to branch, hiding behind a thick trunk. The bugs followed him but soon lost track of him among the leaves. I should use this chance to strike while they don't know where I am. Then a notification pinged in his mind, stealth, makes you invisible for 20 seconds. MP, 5. How? What how? Shakes head. I'm not complaining, I should go with the plan now that I have this amazing skill. Sher used an MP potion and activated stealth and accelerate as he approached the bugs. Sher reached the group and positioned himself behind one of them, swiftly striking at its head. One he then moved to the closest 2 and slashed at them. 3 the remaining 7 bugs noticed him and rushed in his direction, but Sher quickly used Power Slash, hitting them and having their health. With no MP left, he used another MP potion but was hit by poison and the bugs' quick attacks. His health dropped dangerously low, so he activated stealth and used an HP potion. Once his HP and MP were back to full and he remained invisible, he activated Accelerate and Power Slash, slashing at the bugs until they vanished into particles. 10 Sure emerged victorious. Sure's POV. I need to lie down for a moment. He took a seat near a tree and relaxed for a bit. Note to self, stock up on potions and antidotes, he said to himself, then heard a ping. Your level has increased to level 15. Poison resistance, medium. Poison dagger, passive adds poison effect to your daggers. Precise cut, strike your foe. This attack deals increased critical damage MP 10. Focus slash, strike your foe. This attack has increased critical hit damage MP 15. Nice, I leveled up to 15 and got new skills. I think I could take on that dungeon now, right after I stock up on potions and antidotes. Time skipped to Sure at the door of the dungeon after he bought the supplies. Okay, I got 20 HP and MP potions and 15 antidotes. I put 25 SP into Vitality, 30 into Intelligence, and 5 into Strength and Agility. I'm more than ready to take on this dungeon. Third-person POV. Sure took a deep breath and walked toward the doors. Suddenly, the ground began to shake, startling him, and the doors started to open. He stepped closer to the entrance, where he saw the halls lit with torches and an ominous wind blowing inside, sending shivers down his spine. But he took a deep breath and proceeded inside. Our hero slowly faded into the darkness as the doors closed behind him, sealing shut until the dungeon was cleared. Character sheet. Level 15. HP 250. MP 200. Weapon Twin daggers. Stats GI 42. Char 43. Dex 25. Int 30. Vit 30. Power slash, a powerful slash with stored up power. MP 12. Accelerate, boost your ATK AGI by 3% for 5 minutes. Heat 20. Poison resistance, medium. Poison dagger, passive adds poison effect to your daggers. Precise cut, strike your foe. This attack deals increased critical damage MP 10. Focus slash, strike your foe. This attack has increased critical hit damage MP 15. Stealth, makes you invisible for 20 seconds. Chapter end. Thinking. Speaking. Casting. Inside the dungeon. Third-person POV. We see our MC walking through the corridor of the dungeon. Do dungeons always give off such ominous vibes? I mean, the poor lighting, the armor stands, the eerie wind, and the long, dark corridors. This feels like I'm in the castle of some sort of demon king or something. The developers really took a page out of that book, I see, Sure remarked as he looked around the dungeon. This is strange. I've been walking for a while now. Normally I would be attacked by monsters right now. What's going on? Sure exclaimed. He continued walking, never lowering his guard as he moved deeper into the dark corridor. Soon he came across an intersection with 3 corridors, straight ahead, left, and right. At the end of each corridor, large doors were illuminated by torches, each adorned with strange symbols. The corridors leading left and right were blocked by barriers. Sure approached the left barrier, and a message popped up, requirements to enter the double dungeon are not met. He then moved to the right barrier, and another message appeared, requirements to enter the demon castle are not met. I should go straight. I'll figure out how to open the barriers later. Sure walked up to the door, but a message appeared, level is too low to enter. He was shocked to realize he was still underleveled, but then another message popped up, quest, defeat all the monsters. Reward, God's messenger set and 10 levels. Will you accept YN? Why? Suddenly, he heard something approaching from behind. He turned toward the sound, drew his daggers, and took a defensive stance. A knight slowly walked toward him. Sure activated Accelerate and charged straight at the knight. The knight, seeing this, charged back at Sure. Just as their weapons were about to clash, Sure sidestepped, causing the knight's sword to hit the ground. He kicked it out of the knight's hands and activated Focused Slash, striking the knight on the neck and causing him to dissolve into particles. Their armor is really hard. Their defense must be high. Before Sure could finish his sentence, he felt a presence behind him. He quickly turned around and swung his daggers at nothing, but soon after, a monster materialized and dissolved into particles. So monsters can turn invisible as well. A message appeared. Sixth sense, passive, the ability to sense danger before it happens. As he read about his new skill, he sensed another threat approaching. He dodged just in time, landing safely as a dark spot radiating heat marked where he had just been. Again, he felt danger and ducked, narrowly avoiding an arrow that embedded itself in the wall behind him. Shur surveyed his surroundings and spotted an army of armored figures standing ready to fight. He rose to his feet, weapons drawn, and faced the metallic foes with unwavering determination. Letting out a battle cry, he charged into the fray, activating Accelerate and Powerful Slash, targeting the necks of the monsters and turning some of them into particles. As arrows and fireballs rained down, Shur felt the urgency to evade. He activated Stealth and stealthily approached the archers and mages, using Powerful Slash to target their weapons and dismantle them. One by one, the archers and mages fell, turning into particles until none remained. Shur then turned his attention to the knights, activating Stealth once more and using Accelerate to close the gap. He unleashed Precise Cut, taking them down one by one. Sparks flew, swords clashed, and particle effects lit up the corridor. Shur's health was depleting, but he was continuously healed, while the knights faced overwhelming defeat until none were left, declaring Shur the victor of the corridor battle. After ensuring there were no remaining enemies, a flood of messages appeared. Your level has increased to 54. Blood Dagger, passive adds a bleeding effect to your daggers. Blood Drain, steals health from your enemies and makes it yours. MP, 25. Evasion, passive a 20% chance to dodge an incoming attack. Flash Blink, dash forward, slashing through foes with all your swords. Foes in the path receive damage at the moment of impact and are launched into the air moments later for additional damage. This skill allows you to pierce through enemy guardians as well. MP, 30. Moonlight Sonic, perform a sweeping slash in front of you to pull foes close and inflict damage. MP, 25. Paralyzing Blow, paralyze your opponent for 15 seconds when hit. MP, 15. Backstab, increases damage when you strike your enemies from behind. MP, 15. Stealth increased, evasion increased, poison dagger increased, blood dagger increased, accelerate increased. Quest complete. Reward, God's Messenger set and 10 levels. Your level has increased to 64. Acquired, God's Messenger set. Loot acquired, 56,489 gold coins, 53 health potions, and 32 mana potions. Shur was astonished by how quickly he leveled up and the number of skills he gained. He took a moment to rest, equipped the Assassin's set, and allocated some skill points to his stats. Shur felt confident and ready to face the boss. Character sheet. Level, 64, 45 stat points. HP, 5,280. MP, 4,980. Weapon, Sin and Punishment. Armor, God's Messenger. Stats, AGI, 156. STR, 170. Dex, 111. Int, 140. Vit, 145. Power Slash, a powerful slash with stored-up energy. MP 12. Accelerate, boost your ATK AGI by 3% for 5 minutes. He, 20. Poison Resistance, medium. Poison Dagger 2, passive adds a poison effect to your daggers. Precise Cut, strike your foe. This attack deals increased critical damage. Focus Slash, strike your foe. This attack has increased critical hit damage. MP, 15. Stealth 2, makes you invisible for 40 seconds. Blood Dagger 2, passive adds a bleeding effect to your daggers. Blood Drain, steals health from your enemies and makes it yours. MP, 25. Evasion 2, passive a 30% chance to dodge an incoming attack. Flash Blink, dash forward, slashing through foes with all your swords. Foes in the path receive damage at the moment of impact and are launched into the air moments later for additional damage. This skill allows you to pierce through enemy guardians as well. V30. Moonlight Sonic. Perform a sweeping slash in front of you to pull foes close and inflict damage. MP. 25. Paralyzing Blow. Paralyze your opponent for 15 seconds when hit. MP. 15. Backstab. Increases damage when you strike your enemies from behind. MP. 15. Sixth Sense. Passive. The ability to sense danger before it happens. Chapter End. IRL name. Kuragari Shur. Age. Same age as Maple and Sally. Likes. His friends, the Maple Tree Guild, Onijirai, sleep, anime, manga, and manhwa. Dislikes. Social interactions. Personality. Shur is very cute, smart, but also shy. Despite being dense, he is popular at school. However, when he plays NWO, he becomes more social because people online don't know him in real life, allowing him to be more comfortable. Looks. Shur is a boy but has feminine features. What he looks like in-game, currently. Armor. God's Messenger. Weapons. Sin and Punishment. The details of the armor set and the daggers will be explained in the next chapter. The reason for his high level is due to defeating 500 knights, 450 archers, and 200 mages, all at level. The explanation of how he can defeat them so easily will also be revealed in the next chapter. Chapter End. Third-person POV. That fight was easy. Good thing I still have some tricks up my sleeve. Thread of Life. Passive. Shows the player a thread that leads to a vital spot on their enemies. Advance Assassination, an instant kill move when timed correctly. MP. 50. MP Cut halves the MP cost on skills. MP. 30. These skills really carried me through the whole fight. Flashback to Shur walking through the dungeon corridors, finding chests and looting them. In the end, he only found 5 skill scrolls and nothing else out of 16 chests. Flashback ends. Hey! At least I got something out of all those chests, Shur exclaimed to himself. I should read the description of my armor and weapons first before I go through these doors, he said, then proceeded to examine his equipment. A message appeared, stating, God's Messenger. The details of the armor will be determined by the pantheon the user chooses. Plus choose a pantheon plus. Available pantheons: Arthurian, Babylonian, Celtic, Chinese, Egyptian, Great Old Ones, Greek, Hindu, Japanese, Mayan, Norse, Polynesian, Roman, Slavic, Voodoo, and Yoruba. Okay, I need to pick a pantheon for my armor stats. But I only know 7 of these pantheons. Can I at least see what benefits I get from each pantheon? Shur selected the Greek pantheon, highlighting it, and a confirm button appeared. He then highlighted the Arthurian pantheon but unselected the Greek pantheon, returning it to its original state. After a moment, he unselected the Arthurian pantheon, causing the confirm button to disappear. Alright, I can't get the pros and cons of each pantheon, which is fine. Sigh, since I don't know much about the others, I should stick to what I know. The Arthurian, Greek, Roman, Babylonian, Egyptian, Norse, and the Great Old Ones. Okay, I know what to do. Excitedly, I should pick the Mayan pantheon because Lady Quetzalcoatl is there, or the Babylonian pantheon for Gilgamesh's Gate of Babylon or he slapped himself. Bad sure. You don't even know if they're based on the anime. It's best to base them on their real-life lore. But Gilgamesh was a king with a massive collection of rare items, and Lady Quetzalcoatl might not be in human form, but she's still a dragon. But I don't know much about those pantheons. Shur began brainstorming which pantheon to choose, but not for long. Okay, I know which pantheon I want. He selected the Greek pantheon and pressed confirm. Congratulations, you have chosen the Greek pantheon. After the message appeared, a 12-sided die appeared in Shur's hand. Now roll the die to determine the god or goddess who will grant their blessings and make you their champion. Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Artemis, Apollo, Athena, Aphrodite, Hermes, Ares, Hephaestus, Hestia. Shur rolled the die. Congratulations! Lady Hestia has granted you her blessings and made you her champion. To signify this, a mark of her symbol will be placed on your back. Title acquired, the Champion of the Hearth. As Shur was preparing, another message popped up. You can unlock the blessings of other gods by completing specific tasks. The last part is just gibberish. Maybe it will show up later, but for now, let's just be happy I got a blessing and a title. Shur examined his armor. The Hearth's Messenger. This armor serves as a reminder to all who encounter you that you have the support of Lady Hestia and her most trusted messenger. Stats. Plus 20 increase in stats when equipped. Hearth's Embrace. Lady Hestia is the goddess of the hearth. As her champion and messenger, she has granted you protection from debuffs. Family. Increases your allies' stats by x5 when equipped. Calming Aura. When equipped, lower-leveled monsters will not attack you unless you attack them. Does not work on higher-leveled monsters than you. This armor is incredible. I mean, Family, Hearth's Embrace, and Calming Aura. If this armor set isn't powerful, I don't know what is. What about my weapons? Shur looked at his daggers. Sin and Punishment, Original Form. Twin daggers created by the gods. Grants 3 skill slots, and the daggers are mana-sensitive, meaning their power will increase based on their user's abilities and even allow the user to alter their weight as desired. You can unlock their Repent and Rejoice form by defeating a player killer with over 100 kills to their name. More information will be provided after you complete the task. This armor set and daggers are incredibly powerful. I'm sure I'm going to be one of the top players in NWO, Shur declared. As he finished reading the details of his newfound items, he equipped his title and started walking toward the doors. Would you like to enter the empty throne room? Yes. The doors opened, revealing a room with an empty throne and a red knight guarding it. Character sheet. Level, 64, 45 stat points. HP, 6,580. MP, 6,350. Weapon, Sin and Punishment, Original Form. Armor, the Hearth's Messenger. Title, the Champion of the Hearth. Stats, AGI, 156-20. STR, 170-20. Dex, 111-20. Int, 140-20. Vit, 145-20. Power Slash. A powerful strike with stored energy. MP12. Accelerate. Boost your ATK AGI by 3% for 5 minutes. Heat. 20. Poison Resistance. Medium. Poison Dagger 2. Passive adds poison effect to your daggers. Precise Cut. Strike your foe. This attack deals increased critical damage. Focus Slash. Strike your foe. This attack has increased critical hit damage. MP. 15. Stealth 2, makes you invisible for 40 seconds. Blood Dagger 2, passive adds a bleeding effect to your daggers. Blood Drain, steal HP from your enemies and convert it to your own. MP, 25. Evasion 2, passive a 30% chance to dodge an incoming attack. Flash Blink, dash forward, slashing through foes with all your swords. Foes in the path receive damage at the moment of impact, then are launched into the air moments later for additional damage. This skill allows you to pierce through enemy guardians as well. V30. Moonlight Sonic. Perform a sweeping slash in front of you to pull foes close and inflict damage. MP. 25. Paralyzing Blow. Paralyze your opponent for 15 seconds when hit. MP. 15. Backstab. Increases damage when you strike your enemies from behind. MP. 15. Sixth Sense, passive the ability to sense danger before it happens. Thread of Life, passive shows the player a thread that leads to a vital spot on their enemies. Advance Assassination, an instant kill move when timed correctly. V50. MP Cut, halves the MP cost of skills. V30. Blessing of the Hearth? Chapter End. In a third-person view, there stood the boss of the dungeon, Blood Red Commander Igris, next to the empty throne. This one is definitely different from the others, Shur said, feeling his sixth sense trigger. He's coming. Shur activated Accelerate and ducked just in time to avoid an incoming attack, which completely destroyed the pillar behind him. What? Calming Aura doesn't work on him? That means he's a higher level than me, and he can cut through objects like they're nothing. This guy's strength is insane. Shur used Precise Cut and struck him on the side, inflicting bleeding and poison effects. His sixth sense alerted him again, making him look up just as a sword was about to strike him. Oh no, but Shur dodged at the last second, only to be blown back by the shockwave the attack produced, creating a cloud of dust around him. As Shur landed, trying to regain his balance, a small yellow orb shimmered in the dust cloud. His sixth sense tingled, alerting him to an incoming attack. He swiftly dodged and kicked the sword out of Igris' hand. Then, Shur unleashed a powerful slash, but Igris blocked the attack with his arms and retaliated with a punch to Shur's face, sending him crashing against the wall and causing him to drop his weapons. Igris lunged at Shur, throwing a punch, but Shur countered with his own. They exchanged blows, each strike echoing in the air until Shur attempted a kick aimed at Igris' head. Igris caught his foot just before contact and hurled Shur against the wall with such force that it left a crater upon impact. Shur slumped down from the wall and, in a daze, found himself seated on the throne, unconscious. HP, 49 20 65 80 MP, 3250 63 50. Igris approached Shur, raised his hand, and summoned his sword from the ground. Aimed it at Shur's neck and prepared to strike, but Shur unleashed a shockwave, halting Igris' attack. I am not done yet, Shur declared, summoning his dagger and striking at Igris, aiming for his eye. With precise cuts, Shur targeted Igris' neck repeatedly, causing him to disintegrate into particles. Quest complete. A job will be granted after analyzing the player's actions. My job could be an advanced class of assassin. Either way, I still get stronger. I just hope it's a good one. Messages began to pop up. Wherever the player goes, the Reaper follows. The player's path is littered with corpses and the smell of blood. Yup, definitely an advanced class of assassin. As the player possesses strength, he does not rely on his teammates and overcomes everything with his own power. Your desire for strength burns strong enough to summon those who wander the Valley of the Dead, and the army of the dead will follow your commands, creating a path where your word is law, and you will never need another's help again. What? An army of the dead? Wait, is my job? A message interrupted Shur's thoughts. Your job is necromancer. Necromancer, a mage subclass that can summon an army of the undead. While many view necromancers as menacing or villainous due to their association with death, not all are evil, though the forces they wield are considered taboo by many societies. A necromancer? But I'm an assassin. Shouldn't I get a job related to my class? You know what? Having an undead army to command sounds amazing. Sign me up. Would you like to accept the job? Why, yes. Your job has been chosen. Based on the points you have obtained, you will have a chance to promote to a superior job. Wait, what points? Points that you have acquired through dungeon exploration? Oh, okay then. Points will now be totaled. Defeated the army of armor. Points will be added. Solo defeated the dungeon. Points will be added. Finished the dungeon in under 4 hours. Points will be added. Remaining health is above 50%. Points will be added. Congratulations. You will be promoted from Necromancer to Shadow Lord. You have acquired job-exclusive skills. You have acquired bonus stat points. Nice, bonus points and exclusive skills. Awesome. Shur examined his new skills. Shadow Extraction allows its user to revive a slain beast as a shadow soldier. It is triggered through a set keyword, can be applied over a large radius, allowing its user to extract hundreds of shadows at once. It cannot be successfully used on targets significantly stronger than the user and can only be used 3 times on a single target, meaning the user has only 3 chances for a successful extraction. MP 0. Select your command phrase for shadow extraction. A command phrase, huh? What should it be? It needs to sound cool. I know, face. A noise echoed, and Shur looked down the hallway, witnessing shadow figures rising from the ground. 50 soldier knights, 30 soldier archers, and 20 elite mages have been successfully extracted. This is amazing. But where do my shadow soldiers go? And what do soldier and elite mean? Shur asked, and a message appeared. Shadow soldiers are stored in your shadow. You can only save up to 100 soldiers for now. The player cannot summon monsters with contaminated mana or inorganic forms. Shadow soldiers are ranked from lowest to highest. Soldier, Elite, Knight, Elite Knight, Commander, Marshal, Grand Marshal. Shadows ranked Knight and above will be named. That's cool. So I can summon any monster that was killed. Wait. Shur glanced at the spot where he defeated Igris and noticed a black diamond icon. He hurried towards it. If I can have this guy as a servant. Arise. Dark smoke enveloped the area. Extraction failed. 2 tries left. What? Arise. Extraction failed. 1 try left. Shur stared at the empty throne. Why protect a seat that someone already left? Protect me, who is right in front of you. Arise. Extraction successful. The shadow's rank is Knight. Name the shadow. Blood Red Igris. No, that's too edgy. Igris will be just fine. Igris rank, Knight. Need 10 spaces to save Igris. Oh, then cancel the 10 weakest soldiers. Cancelled. Extraction successful. Alright, now time to leave this place. Shur walked towards the gate and was teleported outside, greeted by the moonlight. He took a deep breath and sighed. I've been playing for quite some time now. I should go to bed. He opened the menu and logged off. Shur's bedroom. Shur took off the headset and went to sleep at 1 a.m. on a school night, dreaming of the exciting adventures awaiting him in NWO. Chapter End. NWO Starting Village. We see Shur sitting on a bench near the town square, wearing his starting armor. It's been a week since I first started playing the game. After the whole dungeon arc, I focused on increasing my army and leveling them up since I'm already at a high level. I learned that I can't summon monster shadows from a dungeon I've already cleared, and I can increase my army's capacity by 10 every time I clear a dungeon or complete quests. I also can't summon players' shadows. Once I discovered this, I grinded hard all week, leveling up 5 times, leveling Igris to Elite Knight, adding 2 Knight rank soldiers, Tank and Iron, and adding 130 soldier rank and 130 elite rank soldiers. My army now numbers 380, with 20 free slots. Then the announcement for the first event happened. Shur thought to himself as he looked at all the players gathered in the town square, waiting for the event to start. Roar New World Online's first event will now commence. You have up to 3 hours. The stage is a map exclusive to this event. By the way, I'm the mascot of this game, Drazo. You'll be seeing me more around. We're starting the countdown. 3, 2, 1, 0. Good luck everyone. Drazo announced as Shur and the other participants were teleported away. Shur looked around and found himself in a forest. Time to get serious, he said as he equipped the Hearth's messenger. He raised his hand and called out, "Come forth." An army emerged from his shadow, with Igris on his right and Iron and Tank on his left, while the rest of Shur's army stood behind them. Shur glanced at Igris, then at Iron and Tank, and finally at the rest of his army. He raised his hand and declared, "Bring me victory." He lowered his hand, and the Shadow Army raised their weapons and charged into the woods to gather points while Shur walked in another direction with sin and punishment in hand, also seeking points. In the town square, multiple screens displayed the event, showing Igris, Tank, and Iron with their troops eliminating players. Isn't this supposed to be a player event? Why are there monsters on the map? And aren't they incredibly strong? Asked a boy in a yellow hat and clothes. I don't know, but they've already eliminated more than 100 players, replied a woman in purple armor. They take damage but heal instantly, said the guy next to the boy. This must be against the rules, said the guy wearing a helmet. After the monsters finished eliminating the players, they suddenly bowed. Hey, why are the monsters suddenly bowing? The boy asked. Beats me, replied the guy next to him. Just then, a hooded figure appeared and commanded the monsters to continue their rampage. Wait, that's not possible, right? The boy said. Isn't this against the rules? Asked the woman. Isn't commanding monsters too overpowered? The guy added. He's a monster, said the helmet guy. Wait a minute, look at the leaderboard. That void guy is gaining points every time a player is eliminated by those monsters, said the boy. Third place, the woman noted. Near a lake, Shur was sitting on the edge with his feet in the water, his army ready to fight in his shadow when Drazo appeared. There is 1 hour left. Currently in first place is Pain-san. second is Dreadsen, and third is Voidsan. Drazo announced. Wow. Third place isn't bad. Sure said. Drazo continued, from now on, players who defeat the top 3 will receive a third of their points. The positions of these 3 players are displayed on the map. Then that means players will come and try to defeat me, Sure said, and Drazo confirmed with a cheerful yes. Players began emerging from the forest, surrounding Sure. Ha. I'm sorry, boy, no hard feelings, a guy said as he dashed toward Sure with his sword drawn, but was stopped by Tank. The guy started sweating and stammered, "And mercy?" Tank swiftly eliminated him, and the rest of Sure's army emerged from his shadow, forming a protective wall around him. Eliminate them all, Sure commanded his army. As the shadows dispatched players left and right, Sure glanced at the map and noticed the second-place player nearby. Why not? He thought, closing the map and looking around to see only his army. Go find and eliminate the second-place player. I'll be fine on my own. The shadows bowed and moved into the forest. Sure waited for players to approach him, with sin and punishment beside him as he swayed his feet in the water. We see Sure finishing off the last of the players who attacked him. One player remained, trembling at the sight, and shouted, "You hacker! How can you kill those players and still not be tired?" Sure activated Accelerate and, in seconds, was in front of the player. He shrugged and said, "I don't know," then used Focus / reducing the player's health to 0. Also, that was fun. I wonder if Baru and the rest have already taken down the guy. Sure mused. In another area of the map, Igris stood over a player with only a little health left, surrounded by the rest of the Shadow army. "You guys got me good," the player said. Igris lifted his sword and struck, eliminating the player and turning him into particles. Iron celebrated with the rest of the shadows. "HM. Oh well, there's still some time left before the event finishes." Or, "Time's up." There was a change in the order of the top 3. I will now interview the top 3 players, starting with the one in third place. Drazo announced. "Congratulations. For third place, please accept this commemorative medal." "Thank you very much. Now for the player in second place." Painson. "Looking back, what do you think?" I thought I won but was mistaken. Next time I won't lose." "Congratulations on second place. Please accept this commemorative medal." "Thank you. Now for the player in first place." Voidsen. "Same question. Looking back, what do you think?" "It was fun. Congratulations on first place. Please accept this commemorative medal." "Thank you very much. I forgot to mention that the medal has a surprise." That concludes the first event of NWO. Better luck next time. The next day, 2 girls were walking to school. "What? Third place?" said the brown-haired girl. "Yeah, even I'm surprised," replied the black-haired girl. "Hey, Risa, wait up." Sure called as he ran towards them. "What are you guys talking about?" Sure asked. "Oh, nothing, just Keed getting third place in the NWO first event." Risa said with a hint of sarcasm. "Wait, you're Maple?" Sure exclaimed, shocked. Yeah, I'm Maple," Keed confirmed. "Congrats on getting third," Sure said, smiling. "Hey, we should play together after school," Sure said with excitement. "Wait, Sure you play?" Risa asked. "Yeah, I even got first place in the event," Sure replied. Risa and Keed exclaimed. "Time skip after school. What kind of stats are those?" "All defense and all stats over 100, Risa said with a sigh. "We could both specialize in defense," Keed suggested. "No, I don't want to have the same stats as you. Maybe I should specialize in being an assassin," Risa replied. "But wait, isn't Sure already an assassin type?" Keed asked. "Yeah, but right now I'm focusing on intelligence. I don't mind if Risa wants to be an assassin," Sure explained. "Then I'm going to focus on speed and critical hits," Risa declared, raising her arm in the air. "Let's play later tonight," Keith said with a smile. Yeah, Risa and Sure agreed in unison. Time skip. Sure went home with his 2 best friends, and after finishing his homework and chores he booted up NWO, equipped his gear, and started to play. Sure, over here. Keith shouted. Maple. Use his in-game name, Risa scolded. Oops. Sorry, Void, Maple said. It's fine, Maple, Void replied. Okay, let's go explore. Sally shouted with excitement. Ikuzo, both Maple and Void cheered. To be continued. Chapter end. Third-person POV. We see Maple, Sally, and Void in a room they rented from the inn. Wow. You really put a lot of thought into your stats, Sally, Maple said. Ooh, I think a lot more than someone who takes all the hits and doesn't take damage, Sally said smugly, waving her finger. But you have to admit she is overpowered after all, Void joined in on the conversation. Yeah, but you're on a whole nother level, Void. I mean, you can summon monsters from your shadows, making them your own personal army, and that overpowered armor as well, Sally said. I just got lucky, I guess, Void replied. But I also want to hurry and get exclusive equipment. About your shield, Maple? Sally said, trying to remember the name of the shield. Maple pulled out her shield and said, Mirror of the Dark Knight. Yes, that Mirror of the Dark Knight. It absorbs all your opponent's attacks, right? That means you can't get skills that require you to attack, right? Sally asked. Yeah, because of that, I consulted a craftsman, Izu-san, about whether she could make me a normal shield and then. Flashback. If you bring in some materials for me, it'll cost you about 1,000,000 G, Izu said. The Mirror of the Dark Knight is black, so I want a white shield this time, Maple said to Izu, who then pointed at the map and said, in that case, try going to the underground lake to the south of the city. There are tons of white fish swimming in it, so their scales can be used to make the shield. End of flashback. That's what she said, Maple told Void and Sally. I see. Shall we try going to the underground lake first then? Sally asked. You guys are okay with that? Maple inquired. Yeah, it would be fun, Void said. Nice. Then off to the lake we go, but we should buy fishing rods somewhere first, Sally said as she walked to the exit with Void following behind her. Hey, wait. You guys are too fast, Maple called out as she tried to catch up to them. Sorry, Maple, Void said, going to help her. Yeah, sorry, Maple. Even at this speed, it was still too fast, Sally added. Don't worry, Void reassured her. Sally said as she looked towards Void. I've got it covered, Sure said. Wow, you guys are so fast. As expected with AGI 165, Maple said while being piggybacked by Void, with Sally following closely. Void is holding back so I could catch up, Maple, Sally explained. Hold on tight. You take care of defending while Sally handles any monsters that appear, Void instructed. Okay, both of them replied. 3 wolves up ahead, Sally warned. Maple then used Paralyze Shout, and Sally slashed them, turning them into particles. Nice teamwork, Sally said. Time skipped to the entrance of the underground lake. You guys were so fast. Maple exclaimed while Sally and Void were sweating and breathing heavily. Ooh, bow to me, Sally teased. Sally-sama, Maple said as she bowed. So, are we going in or not? Void asked as he started walking ahead, leaving the two of them behind. We're going in, Sally and Maple said as they hurried to catch up to Void, especially Maple. -2 hours later, the trio was fishing. I finally got my 3rd one, Maple said, holding up a scale. She heard Void say, I got another one. She looked over at him and said, I just got my 3rd one while the both of you caught more than 20 already. Straight face. That's because your DX is 0. I just started, so my level goes up just by finishing off the fish that I catch, Sally explained. What's your level now? Void asked. 6, Sally answered, then got a notification. Skill acquired, fishing. The first skill is fishing? I can't say that's weird now for the both of you, she added. You've got quite a lot of status points to use now, don't you? Aren't you going to use them? Maple asked. I'll wait until I get a few more skills first. My battle style gets influenced by my skills, after all, Sally replied. You're such a gamer, Void remarked. Yeah. Maple agreed. Well, I've played a lot more games than both of you, Sally said as she got another bite. Oh, this is a huge one. Void exclaimed, moving to sit next to Maple and putting his hand on her shoulder, saying, "It's okay," while Maple was getting frustrated. 1K reads, "Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I've been busy reading fanfics, manhwa, manga, watching anime and YouTube, doing schoolwork, and other stuff, so I hope you all like this chapter. See you soon and stay safe." Chapter end. Underground Lake. Void's POV. We got 45 in total. Do you think this would be enough for your shield? Sally asked. Can we spend one more hour here? Maple requested. Sure. Sally replied. Then both of them looked at me, waiting for my answer. Sure, I don't mind, I said, and both of them smiled at my response. Then Sally said, since we all agreed, I want to try something out first. What is it? Maple and I asked. I'm going to dive and hunt for fish. You want to come with Void? Sally asked. Maybe later. I'll join you, so for now, I'll stay with Maple, I replied. Can you really do that here? Maple asked. Of course. Real-life skills like swimming, climbing trees, or having quick reflexes are reflected during gameplay too. They're called player skills. See you guys later. Sally said. Good luck. Maple waved. Be careful and don't get into trouble. I shouted as she dove into the water. I looked at the water where she had dived, then turned to Maple and said, Shall we get started fishing? Absolutely. Maple replied, raising her fishing rod high. Minus 10 minutes later. It's been 10 minutes already. I hope she's all right down there, Maple said. She is really taking her time, huh? I replied, glancing at Maple. Not long after, Sally emerged from the water, taking a deep breath as she exclaimed, I'm back. Welcome back. Maple and I chimed in and Maple added, How many did you catch? Hee hee. Sally laughed, a wide grin on her face, as she dropped a pile of shimmering scales onto the ground. Wow. Are you sure I can have all of these? Maple asked, eyes wide. That's a bit excessive if you ask me, I commented. Just some extra materials for future items. I don't need them anyway, and you can have all of them in exchange for helping me out in the future, Sally explained. Okay, let me know if you need any help. Maple replied enthusiastically. Oh, I also found a dungeon while I was exploring and fishing. By the way, did you two tackle the dungeon solo to get your gear? Sally inquired. I did. I had to face knights and mages and defeat the boss. There were also 2 more bosses inside, but I need to unlock them first. I have the key for that dungeon, but I have to meet the requirements to enter the other boss rooms. I also gained skills and a job after beating the boss, but my gear was a quest reward for defeating all the knights and mages, I answered. Me too. I had to battle monsters and deal with a poisonous dragon just to survive. I only got my gear and skills after I defeated the dragon, Maple added. So all your skills and gear came from defeating a dungeon solo? Well then, I'll just tackle the dungeon by myself. Sally declared. Are you going to do it now? Maple asked. No, I need to level up first and gain skills to defeat the boss, Sally replied. Don't forget it might be underwater, I reminded her. Yeah, I need to level up my skills for that too. Well, no time like the present. I'm going to grind and then beat the boss. Sally said, raising her fist in the air and shouting, yeah. Maple and I exchanged glances, then joined her, shouting, yeah, with our fists raised. After a moment of silence, we all looked at each other and burst into laughter. Chapter end. Somewhere in NW. In a third-person perspective, we see Void alone with his shadow army hidden away, strolling around and taking in the sights. Why isn't he with his friends? Flashback. Sure's perspective. Do you guys want to play NWO? I asked my friends over the call. I can't right now. I'm studying, Risa replied. And I'm doing homework, Kita added. I looked at them both and sighed. Guess I'll play by myself. You guys are going to join me later, right? I asked. Kita and I are going to this cafe in the game, and after that we're going to do some exploring. You can join us if you want, Risa said, glancing at a book in her hands. You're going to explore high-level dungeons, right? I asked, hoping they would say yes. No, we're going to explore dungeons at our level cap. We don't want to die and wait to respawn. There's no fun in that, Risa said, with Kita nodding in agreement. Well, I'm going to pass then. We're still going to team up at the second event, right? I asked. Of course. Kita replied. Well then I'm off to play. Bye. I waved at them. Bye. They both said in unison. End of flashback. And here we are now with Void trying to find strong monsters to add to his growing army and discover new skills and items. Minus 2 hours later of exploring. Void's perspective. 2 hours. And I found nothing. I shouted at the sky from a cliff overlooking a beach. At least I marked my map for gathering materials, I said, trying to stay optimistic. I sighed and scanned the surrounding area, hoping to find a dungeon to clear or a monster to fight to release some pent-up frustration, but all I saw were birds flying in the sky. I lay down on the grass, gazing at the cloudy sky, and closed my eyes, letting the breeze and the scent of the ocean comfort me after my unsuccessful search. Just 5 minutes later, I heard a notification ping. I opened my eyes to see a quest alert pop up. Quest: Conquer the floating castle. Reward: Unknown. Accept. YN. Sure, I've got nothing better to do, I said as I pressed Y. Nothing happened. That's odd. Shouldn't there be a portal to teleport me or something? I wondered, still lying down. Suddenly, I saw the clouds parting, and something was falling at incredible speed. Before I knew it, I was pushed back by a cloud of dust. After regaining my balance, I coughed out some of the dust and waved it away from my face. There, I saw a massive chain connected to an enormous island. Naturally, the smartest thing to do in this situation was to take a selfie and send it to my friends with the caption, "Gonna conquer this," or "I found my dream home," adding some laughing emojis for good measure. But instead, I simply said, "That's neat," and turned to leave, flipping it off. Forget that. I sure as heck don't want to grind that right now, maybe later. Who am I kidding? I went back, took a selfie, and sent it to my friends with the caption, "Guess who's going to be king of a floating island?" I then looked toward the island. "Prepare to be conquered, you beautiful freak of nature," I said confidently, though that confidence quickly faded when I realized I had to walk across old, mossy chains to reach the island. Oh, this is going to be one heck of a walk? Climb? Never mind that, I said, shaking my head as I contemplated whether to go through with it. I slapped my face and encouraged myself, "You can do this. You already sent that pic to your friends, so there's no going back. Just take a deep breath and take a leap of faith." I looked at the chain, glancing nervously at the ground below. No way. There's no way I'm doing that, I said, shaking my head. Void's POV. I'm not walking on slippery chains. I'll fall. I muttered to myself, starting to walk away but suddenly stopping to look back. No, don't be foolish. You're smarter than that, I said, giving my face a gentle slap to shake off the thought of walking on that precarious chain. I began to walk again, sighing, "Darn it, I guess I do have a monkey brain after all." Then I turned around and ran toward the chain. Closing my eyes, I prayed I wouldn't ruin my perfect record and took a leap of faith as I reached the start of it. I opened my eyes and shouted, "Assassin's Creed!" I landed on the chain, and not a moment later, I saw Naruto sprinting across it like a cheetah. "Please let this work," I yelled repeatedly as I ran, hoping my plan would somehow succeed. As I dashed forward, I tripped over my own feet and stumbled, landing face first on the concrete path. "Ow!" I groaned, my voice muffled against the ground. I got up, brushed off the dust, and looked around. I spotted a lush forest filled with towering trees. Following a nearby stream, I felt confident I wouldn't get lost in this unfamiliar place. Time skip. After about 30 minutes of following the stream, I hadn't encountered anything until I found myself at a cave in the mountains. Inside, a breathtaking view awaited me, complete with a gate-like structure. I snapped a picture to capture the moment. Approaching the structure, I noticed an inscription that read, "Beyond these doors lie riches beyond your wildest dreams, but beware of the monarch that inhabits the castle and his army, for they do not take kindly to trespassers." I contemplated my next move. Opening my menu, I checked my stats. Level, 72. HP 8000. MP, 8900. Weapon, Sin and Punishment, Original Form. Armor, the Hearth's Messenger. Title, the Champion of the Hearth. Job, Shadow Lord. Stats, AGI, 190-20. STR, 190-20. Dex, 155-20. Int, 220-20. Vit, 175-20. Army, Elite Knight Igris, Iron, Tank, and 350 soldiers, 200 elite. Let's do this, I said, pushing open the doors and stepping inside. Before me lay a bridge connecting to a castle in the middle of a lake, surrounded by buildings and waterfalls. As I took in the scenery, I felt the ground tremble slightly. Looking around, I saw an army of orcs at the other end of the bridge, with one orc being carried by 4 others sitting on a throne. They shouted, "I am Kargalgan, the prideful orc's great sorcerer. Who dares to challenge me?" Sure's POV. "The name's Void," I replied with a smile. "You certainly seem strong." I added, my smile growing wider. "Isn't that obvious? I am the king of the orcs," Kargalgan boasted, flashing a toothy grin. "Not for long. Come forth, my shadows." I summoned my shadows, feeling confident about this battle. "You think you can take on my warriors with that many soldiers?" "Ha!" Kargalgan laughed. "I wouldn't be so sure if I were you." "Shadow's domain," I declared, and a notification appeared. Shadow soldiers' stats have been increased by 20%, turning my blue soldiers to purple. A new job-specific skill I gained at level. My shadows are much stronger now, I thought. "What are you all doing? Destroy them already," Kargalgan commanded, and his forces charged toward us. I stayed back while my army met them in the middle, casting MP Cut. Iron attempted taunting cry to draw the enemy's attention but failed due to their high levels. Frustrated, Kargalgan swung his axe, taking out several enemies in one powerful blow. Igris, surrounded by foes, dispatched them effortlessly while tanks slashed through orcs with ease. However, my other soldiers struggled, causing my mana to deplete quickly. Suddenly, an explosion echoed. "My soldiers!" I exclaimed. "Why are you so arrogant with useless puppets?" Kargalgan taunted, a dragon's head visible atop his throne. "You're the one being arrogant. As long as I have mana, my soldiers can regenerate," I countered. "Then I'll destroy you all at once." Hymn of blazing fire. Multiple explosions erupted, damaging parts of the bridge. "You can't defeat me. Give up and die," Kargalgan shouted. "Not a chance," I replied with a smile, popping a mana potion. "Arise," I commanded, and shadows of the high orcs began to rise from the ground, attacking the other orcs with ease. "What the?" "Turning my warriors into the undead," Kargalgan exclaimed, panic creeping into his voice. "Kill him. Cut him into pieces and offer him to me," he ordered, and his 4 generals charged at me, only to be intercepted by Igris, Iron, and Tank. Iron engaged one of the generals, ready for the fight. As their blades clashed, sparks flew, but Iron gained the upper hand by delivering a solid headbutt to the orc, denting its helmet. He then swung his axe down, causing the orc to disintegrate into particles. Igris effortlessly battled 2 generals, defeating both in under 5 minutes. Tank swiftly slashed one of the generals, who also turned into particles. "It seems my generals are superior to yours," I remarked with a smug expression. "How dare you? I'll show you. I will not allow you to speak so lightly in front of the great Kargalgan," he shouted, casting a series of powerful spells, but was taken aback when he realized they had no effect. "What? How did you dispel my curses?" he demanded. I smiled as I glanced at the notification before me. "All debuffs have been removed due to Hearth's embrace." "Told you, you were being arrogant," I replied, dusting myself off and looking at him with a grin. "Your inferior talent will no longer work on me," Kargalgan declared, visibly enraged. He cast more spells, his fury evident. "I'll crush you like the insect you are." Don't get so cocky just because I played with you for a bit, human, he roared, unleashing a massive wave of fire that missed me as I dodged to the side, moving closer to his face. Yup, I said, swiftly striking at his eyes. I then activated my skill, repeatedly blinking around him until my passive ability activated, allowing me to use Precise Cut to defeat Kargalgan, turning him into particles. As the chapter concluded, a notification appeared before me. Your level has increased to level 79. New skill acquired for defeating the King of the Orcs' Pride. Your stats will be doubled when activated. You have unlocked a job-specific skill, Lord's Authority, a telekinesis skill that lets you control physical objects with contact, can level up when the player gets a job promotion. Quest: Conquer the Floating Castle. Complete. Reward: Increase max capacity of army by 500 and ownership of the island. I was stunned by the message. Then a wicked smile spread across my face as I felt my stats boost. Lifting my hand, I shouted, "Arise!" and 490 shadows of the high orcs began to rise from the ground. I looked toward the orb where Kargalgan once stood and said, "Your name will be Tusk." I happily typed it in, naming the orc Tusk. After naming him, I sent all my army back to my shadow and proceeded toward the castle. As I fought, I hadn't noticed the beauty of the surroundings until I paused in awe. A clear blue lake with patches of land and fish swimming in its waters, mountains surrounding the castle and lake with majestic waterfalls. The only entrance was through a gate, making it hard to invade this place, with a massive castle standing in the center, surrounded by walls. As I neared the end of the bridge, excitement bubbled within me, and I started running. Upon entering the castle, I was greeted by a waterfall. Curious about how the area wasn't flooded, I approached it, and suddenly, gears whirred, and magic circles appeared as the waterfall parted, allowing entrance to the castle. Cautiously stepping inside, I noticed that the waterfall closed behind me, sealing off the entrance. I looked around and saw that the castle was bright with sunlight, which I appreciated, but it lacked any decorations. No banners, no curtains, no red carpets, just emptiness. I wandered through the castle, opening and closing doors, discovering empty rooms, a vacant library, an empty observatory, and a study with an orb against the wall. I realized it was a customization menu for the castle and the island. After exploring, I stepped outside as the waterfall closed behind me and took a moment to look around before logging off. As I logged out of NWO, I removed my gear and glanced at the clock. 12:17, I murmured, yawning and rubbing my eyes. I went to bed and quickly fell asleep. Meanwhile, in another realm, Pink exclaimed, "What do you mean someone beat the monarch's dungeon and conquered the floating island?" Disbelief evident in her voice. "It's bad enough that we have Maple, and now someone else has done this." Green pointed at the screen in front of them. "Was it Maple?" Blue asked. "No, you idiot. It was someone else." Yellow retorted. "So who were the players that actually beat the island in the dungeon?" Purple inquired. "Don't you mean the player who beat both?" Yellow corrected. "What?" They all shouted in unison. "The player's name is Void. He's been playing for over 3 weeks, the same as Maple. He's been seen with her and her friend multiple times," Yellow explained. "Why didn't you tell us earlier?" Blue asked. "I just forgot, hee-hee," Yellow replied sheepishly. "Don't you hee-hee us? Spill what you know about this kid," Pink demanded. "Well, he's level 79 as of now," and Yellow started, but was interrupted. "What?" They all shouted in disbelief. "Let me finish." Yellow shouted back at them. "Where was I?" "Oh yeah, he's level 79, has the god's messenger, and chose the Greek pantheon to become Hestia's messenger and champion. He also possesses sin and punishment, and right now, his army consists of about 1,254 members, including 4 elite knights. He even owns a floating island. That's all I know," Yellow concluded. Everyone fell silent, deep in thought, until Blue spoke up. "He's obviously overpowered, so why not tone him down a bit?" "Yeah, but how?" Purple asked. "Simple. We can adjust his skills, but not too drastically," Blue suggested. "How about extending the revival time for his shadow?" Purple proposed. They all exchanged glances and nodded, deciding to start implementing the nerf in the next update patch for NWO. The administrators were working hard to keep the game balanced. Chapter End. Shur's home. Third-person POV. We see Shur in his room, chatting with his best friends on his tablet about the new patch update in NWO. Shur's POV. What's relevant to us in the new patch is that some skills received buffs, while Keed's Foul Feeder and my Summon Revival Time got significant debuffs, Risa said, examining the update patch notes. Yeah. Apparently, it can only be used 10 times in one day now, Keed added with a frown. And my summons are now vulnerable to holy attacks and have a 1-hour revival time unless they can regenerate with my mana, I said, crossing my arms. Well, that can't be helped, can it? A shield that absorbs everything and turns it into mana, along with an army that can be healed and revived in 5 minutes, is just too powerful, Risa remarked. But there's also defense P&N, Keed said, worry evident in her voice. And a handful of skills that can damage my army, I added. Well, sure, you're already one of the highest level players in the game, so even if your army gets destroyed, you'll still be fine. Maple, on the other hand, is totally in trouble. She'll be vulnerable to damage, Risa said, making Keed frown even more. This is definitely a desperate move to deal with both of you, Risa continued. The reinforcement of the monster's AI is to ensure no one else becomes like you too. If everyone had total defense, advanced assassination, threat of life, and more, the balance of the game would be completely ruined. But the good news is that your summoning chances didn't decrease, and the number of summons you can have each day and your army's ranks didn't drop either, Risa said with a smile, making me happy that they at least didn't mess with those aspects while causing Keed to sigh in defeat. But you know, it's true that you'll now receive damage, but isn't it cool in a way? The more impactful the damage, the more you'll seem invincible. So what do you think? Risa asked, prompting Keed to drift into her own thoughts. I giggled at the expression on Keed's face and then turned to Risa. Hey Risa, wouldn't it be funny if the new patch didn't affect us at all? I said with a smile. Yeah, that would be funny. But how are we going to do that? She asked, trying to brainstorm ideas. What else is there to do but find some overpowered skills and level up? I suggested. Yeah, let's do that. Risa exclaimed excitedly. Then we heard Maple giggle and shout, I think it's great. NWO starting village. Void's POV. Maple sighed and said, I guess I have to deal with limits now. Yeah, I agreed with her statement. So what are we going to do today? Do you guys want to try going to the second floor? Maple asked, looking at us for our responses. Anything you guys want to do, I'm in for the adventure, I said with a smile. That's fine too, but I've only been to the lake and haven't really explored the first floor yet, Risa said, opening her map to check. If possible, I want to go somewhere I haven't been yet, Sally said, scrolling through her map. Come to think of it, there are still a few places I haven't explored either, Maple said. Same here. I also want to check out more of the first floor, I added. So it's settled then. Let's visit those places today. The shops might have nice things too, so let's go there as well, Sally suggested, looking at us with a smile. Hi! Maple and I shouted in unison. Off our heroes went, shopping and sightseeing as if they were tourists on vacation in a fantasy world. What would they find? Find out in the next chapter as the journey continues. What a cringy ending. I hope you all are still enjoying this fanfiction. I know I am. Well, that's it for this segment of Hype's Opinion. Please stay safe and have a nice day. Chapter End. Starting Village. Void's POV. After we visited a potion shop to buy some antidotes, HP, and MP potions, we went straight to a shop that sold skills. The three of us were browsing, trying to find skills to add to our arsenal, especially Maple and me. As we looked through the scrolls and books, Maple exclaimed with joy, "Ha! I'll get this skill." Sally and I turned to see the scroll she was holding. Cover move, we both questioned simultaneously. Yeah. With this, if one of you is in trouble, I can get to you right away, she said with a smile. Did you find anything? Maple asked. No, I was just browsing. I don't know about Void though, Sally said, glancing at me. None. Maple? Are you done looking for skills? I asked her. Yeah. Maple replied, nodding her head. Sally and I waited outside while Maple finished purchasing her skill. "Thank you," we heard the NPC say. Maple came out of the store and said, "Thanks for waiting." Before either of us could respond, we heard a voice. Looking in the direction it came from, we saw two girls around the same height, looking like they were sisters. One had black hair and wore green beginner gear with ribbons in her hair, while the other had white hair in pink beginner gear, also adorned with ribbons. One of them was talking about getting a weapon while the other discussed saving money to buy potions. "They're so cute. Remember when we were beginners?" Maple asked, a nostalgic smile on her face. "We're still beginners, you know," Sally replied, a bead of sweat forming on her brow. Maple laughed nervously. "Oh, is that right?" I chuckled and added, "I totally forgot we're still considered beginners since we started just a few weeks ago, even though we've got mismatched gear and skills." This made all three of us laugh. We looked around to decide which shop to visit next, while Maple contemplated whether to buy weapons or potions. Sally tapped my shoulder and pointed to a cafe. I smiled and nodded, then turned to Maple. "Do you still have money?" she asked. "Yeah, I still have some left after paying Izusan for my new shield," Maple replied. "Then let's go over there," I said, pointing at the cafe. Maple nodded, and the three of us headed in that direction. As we opened the door, an NPC greeted us. "Welcome. Please come in." Walking to an empty booth, we noticed that all the players inside the cafe were looking at us, whispering to one another as we passed by. Once we reached our table, Sally whispered to us, "You two are complete celebrities." "I know, right?" I said with a smile. What do you mean?" Maple asked, confused. "It's nothing," Sally replied, brushing it off. We looked at the menu, overwhelmed by the choices. We ordered our food. I chose chocolate cake, Sally picked strawberry, and Maple opted for the seasonal special. We didn't wait long. An NPC soon arrived with our dishes, saying, "Please enjoy." "Thanks," Maple said with a smile. "Well, let's dig in," Sally exclaimed, holding her fork. "Thank you for the food," I added, and we all took a bite simultaneously, exclaiming, "Delicious," with blissful expressions. After finishing our desserts, the waitress cleared our empty plates as we discussed the upcoming event. "I don't know what type of event the next one will be," Maple said. "Same here. My guess is the same as yours," I replied. "The last event was a battle royale, right?" Sally asked. "Yeah," I confirmed. "I hope I don't have to fight the two of you in the next event," Maple said, a hint of worry in her voice. The announcement for the next event was just released, someone said, catching our attention. We turned to see a man clad in green assassin gear. "You must be Maple and Void, right? You took second and first place in the last event," he said. "Yes, that's me," Maple replied. "Since you know who we are, let me ask you this. Who are you?" I asked, trying to recall if I had met him before. "Come on, at least remember my name." "I'm Dread. I placed fourth," he said. The man next to him, wielding a giant axe, added, "I'm Drag. I was sixth. You spoke with Frederica the other day, didn't you? Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you, but who's Frederica?" Maple asked. Drag began to explain who Frederica was while Maple, Sally, and Dread listened intently. I was lost in thought, trying to remember Dread. Then it hit me I had sent my summons to take down the first and second place competitors. Dread was in fourth place and Drag was in sixth, right? "You guys are impressive too," I heard Sally say. "I remember you now. You were the former second place until you were taken down by those monsters," I interjected. Don't say it like that. I didn't expect to encounter any monsters in the event, let alone high-level ones. "They even took down Pain," Dread said. "Pain?" Maple asked, intrigued. "You don't know Pain? He was the former first place until those monsters overwhelmed him with their numbers. Even so, he fought valiantly, taking down more than half of them. He's also the first person to reach the second floor. An incredible player," Dread concluded. "Wow. Such an incredible person exists. The world really is vast," Maple said, her eyes wide with wonder. "Well, we're heading out to level up. What about you three?" Dread asked. We still have some areas we haven't explored on the first floor, so we're thinking of visiting them, Sally replied. We haven't decided where to go first, though, Maple added. Do you have any recommendations? I inquired. Recommendations? Drag pondered. If you go to the northern forest, you'll find a quest to acquire the skill super acceleration at night. But I don't know if you three can handle it. Are you interested? Dread asked with a playful smirk. The three of us nodded eagerly and set off on our adventure after bidding farewell to Dread and Drag. We arrived at the northern forest at night, finding it teeming with ghosts and other eerie creatures. At Sally's suggestion, we entered a cabin and discovered a hidden trapdoor beneath the carpet. It led us to a room lit by candles, where a tied-up man sat in a chair, looking battered. Maple attempted to heal him with a health potion, but it didn't work, causing the man to cry out in pain. Sally stepped in and successfully healed him after 3 tries, allowing the man to rest peacefully and leaving behind a scroll where he sat. With the quest completed, Sally gained a new skill, and we felt a sense of accomplishment as we prepared for our next adventure. Sally led us to a place where the sun always seemed to be setting, surrounded by fields of sunflowers as far as the eye could see. We lingered there for a while, discovering madder red pearl oysters. We discussed whether to keep them or sell them for some extra coins, and made plans to explore the second floor before the event began. After our day of adventure, we logged out to get some much-needed rest. The next day, at the entrance to the second floor, Maple asked, "Is this the right place?" looking to Void and Sally for confirmation. "Yeah, it is," Sally replied, gazing at the entrance. "Shall we go inside?" Void asked, glancing at the two. The girls exchanged smiles and nodded. "Yeah," they exclaimed in unison. "Then let's go," Void said, encouraging Maple to take the lead, with Sally and Void following closely behind her. As the trio walked through the cave, they were suddenly confronted by green boars. Maple quickly dispatched them with her foul feeder, though it took a toll on her energy. After discussing Maple's use of the foul feeder, a loud roar echoed through the cave. "That scared me," Maple exclaimed. "A bear, huh?" Sally remarked. "This must be a forest-based boss if the monsters Maple just fought are any indication," Void suggested, prompting the others to nod in agreement. "Maple, defend me," Sally called out. "Okay," Maple replied, readying her shield. Suddenly, Sally used her new skill, Mirage, causing Maple's shield to vanish, leaving Void looking puzzled. As the bear charged toward them, Maple panicked, searching for her shield but unable to find it. In a moment of instinct, she attempted to block the bear's attack as if her shield were still there, and surprisingly, it worked. The bear disintegrated into particles, and her shield reappeared in her hands. "What was that?" Maple asked, bewildered. "It's a new skill I got called Mirage. I was experimenting in preparation for the event," Sally explained. "That was a rather dramatic way to show it off, don't you think?" "You scared Maple more than the bear did," Void chuckled. Sorry, Maple," Sally said sheepishly. "It's fine," Maple replied with a smile. Void shook his head and said, "Well, we're almost there. I can already see the entrance to the boss room. Let's go." "Yeah," both girls cheered. As they approached the entrance, the ground began to shake, and the cave walls slid apart to reveal the way forward. "This is..." Maple started, looking around in awe. "The boss room," Sally finished. The entrance began to close behind them, sealing them in with no escape if things took a turn for the worse. As they moved deeper into the room, they marveled at the beauty around them until they stopped in front of a majestic waterfall. Just as they were admiring the scene, the waterfall abruptly halted, and vines began to emerge, intertwining as ominous music filled the air. As the vines took shape, an HP bar appeared, displaying the name, the Forest Guardian. "It's coming," Sally warned. "Maple, start it off," Void instructed. "Okay," Maple replied, preparing for battle. As they readied themselves, the Guardian stomped its hoof, causing the ground to crack open and massive vines to surge toward the trio. Maple cast Poison Dragon, destroying the vines, but the Guardian remained unharmed, protected by a magical barrier. "Huh!" Maple exclaimed. It must be that magic circle. There has to be a way to break it, Sally theorized. Just then, the Guardian unleashed a barrage of vines toward them, which Maple managed to block. Maple, can you hold the defense? Sally and I will investigate further, Void said. Got it. Maple affirmed. Then I'll go ahead. You summon your army first, Sally instructed, rushing toward the boss. Come forth, Void exclaimed, his shadow expanding as he summoned an army of 1,254 soldiers ready for battle. Charge! Void shouted, raising his weapon high. With Sally, Void, and his army charging at the beast, they attacked repeatedly, but their efforts were futile against its protective barrier. Maple and her allies used their skills to draw the boss's attention, while others attempted to break through its defenses. Sally and Void continued their assault, using various skills to chip away at the Guardian's health. Then, one of Sally's wind cutters struck one of the Guardian's red orbs. That's it. Attack those orbs, Sally shouted. Maple cast Poison Dragon again, while another ally used H1 of Blazing Fire, destroying the orbs and shattering the shield. Yush! Attack! Void commanded, letting his soldiers do the heavy lifting. Sally unleashed another wind cutter, hitting the Guardian on the cheek and neck. I'm going to unleash a big one, Maple declared, casting Poison Dragon and significantly lowering the Guardian's health. The boss then entered a new phase, everything turning red as a blinding explosion erupted, stunning the trio and wiping out Void's forces. As they regained their composure, they narrowly dodged a flurry of light beams and vines from the Guardian. When the attacks paused, both Sally and Void rushed to Maple, who had collapsed. Maple! It looks like it will take a while for her to wake up, Sally said, checking her friend's status. This boss just used a powerful light magic attack, wiping out my entire army, Void said, frustration evident on his face. The developers must have added that to challenge you, Sally suggested. It's only got a third of its health left, let's finish this. Void urged, looking at Sally. I guess there's no choice. Let's end it once and for all, Sally shouted. Hell yeah! Void echoed, feeling energized. The duo charged toward the boss, dodging its attacks with agility. Sally cast Wind Cutter, Fireball, and Double Slash on the Guardian's neck, while Void unleashed a flurry of skills, reducing the boss's health to a mere 1%. They exchanged determined glances and nodded, ready to deliver the final blow. They both climbed up the back of the Guardian and leaped high when they reached its head, both casting their abilities aimed at the Guardian's head as they descended. With a triumphant finish, they emerged victorious. The scene reverted to its previous state, and the boss fell to the ground with a heavy thud. Maple returned to consciousness and exclaimed, "Oh, right. I have to fight." Huh. She glanced at her friends and the defeated boss, which was dissolving into particles. "We finished it while you were resting," Sally said with a smile and a giggle. Void was staring at the orb left behind by the boss, a grin spreading across his face. "Arise," he commanded, causing both girls to look at him with curiosity. They waited in silence for something to happen. A shadow began to rise from the ground, revealing the boss they had just defeated, now shrouded in darkness and mist. A message appeared before Void: extraction successful. The shadow's rank is Commander. Name the shadow. Sylvan, Void declared, and another message popped up: Sylvan rank, Commander. Wow, you got a new summon, Void, Maple said excitedly. I didn't know you could do that with boss monsters? Sally asked, looking shocked, a bead of sweat forming on her forehead. Void wore a broad grin, pleased that he had gained something from this encounter beyond just moving to the second floor. Take that, you developers. I got myself a brand new summon, he exclaimed. After Void's outburst, the trio began discussing how Void's army had been wiped out by a single attack and how he would need to wait an hour in-game for them to be usable again. As they chatted, a portal leading to the second floor opened up. The three stepped inside and were greeted by a completely new area. As they looked around, Maple felt a twinge of dissatisfaction for not having defeated the boss, while Sally comforted her, saying she could try again next time, which made Maple pout. Before long, they encountered Maple's go-to craftsman, isnt. After some chatting, Maple received a new shield called White Snow, and the trio set off to celebrate. The bustling town square, the trio waited for Drazo to start the event. It's my first event, so I'm a little nervous, Sally admitted, glancing around at the massive crowd gathered. It's about the same number of participants as the first event, Void noted, surveying the area. As I thought, everyone will participate in the event, Maple added, observing the players logging in and chatting with their party members. Crom! Maple shouted upon spotting him walking by. Oh, it's been a while. I see you got a new shield, Crom said as he approached them. Yeah. It's so I can use Foul Feeder when I really need it. Maple replied with a smile. Oh, are these two the friends you've been talking about? Crom asked, looking at Sally and Void. Yes, this is Sally and Void, Maple introduced, pointing left and right. Wait, you've heard about us? Sally asked, feeling a bit shy, while Void hid slightly behind Maple. Oh, it's nothing. Hee hee, Crom chuckled nervously, a bead of sweat trickling down his face. Suddenly, they heard shouting and turned to see a group of people in matching red outfits surrounding a girl who appeared to be their leader. She stood atop a rock, passionately delivering a speech about the kingdom of the Flame Emperor and their fiery ambition to conquer the land and sky. They're really fired up, Maple remarked. That group's called the Kingdom of the Flame Emperor, Crom explained. Flame Emperor? Sally asked, looking at Crom. Flame Emperor, written with the kanji for flame and emperor. The leader's a powerful fire wielder named me. She placed 5th in the previous event, but she's incredibly strong, Crom elaborated. Me? What a cute name, and she seems amazing too, Maple said with a smile. As they listened to me's speech, Drazo's voice rang out. Roar. The countdown for the second event will begin now. This event will be a hunt. You will be teleported to a field where 300 silver medals are scattered. Collect 10 of them to earn a gold medal. After the event, you can exchange the gold medals for skills and equipment. Drazo announced. Wait, isn't that the same coin we got in the previous event? Void asked. Yeah, it's the same thing we got last time, Maple confirmed. Those who placed in the top 10 in the previous event already have a gold medal. You can defeat players and steal from them, or you can focus solely on hunting for medals. Drazo continued. So it wasn't just a memento after all, Void remarked. I was in 10th place, so I have a medal too. We just need to be careful not to let it get stolen, Crom said, looking at them seriously. Yes, the three replied in unison. Time for the countdown, Drazo announced. Let's do our best, Sally said with a smile. Let's, Void added with a grin. Things. Maple nodded. As the trio was teleported to the field, they found themselves in a stunning landscape filled with giant rocks floating in the sky and bird-like creatures soaring above. Wow! Maple exclaimed, taking in the beautiful virtual world. It's so beautiful I felt chills down my spine, Sally said, awestruck. I can't believe we'll be spending a whole week together. It feels like we're off on an adventure. It's so exciting, Maple said. Void took a deep breath, then sighed. I know, right? You do realize it's in-game time, right? In reality, it's only going to be 2 hours, Sally pointed out, a bead of sweat forming on her forehead. That's true, but come on. Let's aim to get a total of 30 medals, Maple declared. If you mean gold medals, then let's go. Void agreed. Yeah. Let's do our best to look for them, Sally said. The trio raised their fists and shouted, yeah. Time skip. I know we said we were going to find medals, but... Maple began. No matter where we go, it's just grass and mountains, Void sighed. Aren't there any hints? Maple asked. It's pretty standard for there to be hidden treasures in labyrinths or drops by bosses. What do you two think? Sally asked, looking beside her only to find her friends missing. Huh? Maple? Void. Sally said, looking around frantically. Hey, Sally, she heard Maple's voice, but couldn't find her anywhere. Where are you hiding? Sally called out. We're down here. Right below you. Void shouted. Following the voices, Sally touched the ground in front of her, only for it to give way beneath her. "What is this?" "A trap," Sally said, then leaned forward and saw her two friends waving at her. "Sally! Hey!" Maple shouted. "How are you doing up there?" Void called. "I'm fine, but what about you two? It's pretty far down there. Did you take any damage?" Sally shouted. "No. We're fine," Maple replied. "There's also what looks like a dungeon down here," Void added. "A dungeon? Hold on, I'm coming down too," Sally said, then jumped down, landing next to Void and Maple. "It's a hidden dungeon," Sally said, looking at the entrance and then at her friends. "Should we check it out?" "Of course," Sally replied. "Maple, if we see a dungeon, we ask no questions and just go in there with daggers and shields ready," Void instructed. "Yeah," Maple agreed. "Then let's go," Sally said. As the trio approached the entrance, Sally opened it, revealing an open area but no monsters in sight. "There's nothing here?" Maple said, looking around. "No, there's definitely something here," Sally said anxiously. "Maple, ready your shield," Void said as he drew his daggers and activated MP Cut and Pride. "Yeah," Maple said, shield at the ready. As Sally walked ahead, they heard a giggle from above. Maple used cover move just in time to block a massive club swung by a clown-like monster. Before the creature could recover, Void used Flash Blink, slashing the clown with incredible speed and successfully applying a poison and bleeding debuff, reducing its health to 30%. "It's your turn," Void shouted. "All right," Sally said, daggers in hand. As Sally charged toward the clown, Maple kept pace with her using cover move. Just as the clown prepared to attack Sally, Maple intercepted the blow, getting knocked back but unharmed. "Are you okay, Maple?" Sally shouted. Zero damage is always zero, no matter how it's multiplied. In that case, Sally activated super acceleration, darting behind the clown and using double slash, wind cutter, power attack, followed by another double slash, bringing the clown's health down to 15%. "Maple, finish it," Sally shouted, retreating to avoid any counterattack. "Yeah," Maple called, using Poison Dragon to drain the clown's remaining health to 0, causing it to dissolve into particles. "We did it. That was sudden," Maple said with a smile. "Yeah," Sally replied. "Let's grab our loot," Void said, walking toward the chest. "Can I open it?" Sally asked. "Sure," Void and Maple said in unison. Sally opened the chest, revealing a bright yellow light as 4 medals floated out. "We got medals," Maple exclaimed. "We even got 4. Sally added. "That's so lucky," Void said. The trio celebrated their first medals. "Look, there's a teleporter. It must be the way out of here," Sally said. "Then let's go," Maple said, heading toward the teleporter but was stopped when Sally said, "Wait a minute." Sally looked at Void and suggested, "You should try to summon the clown we fought. It might be helpful in the future." "Sure," Void agreed, moving toward the orb. Standing before the orb, Void commanded, "Arise," but nothing happened. Void looked confused as a message appeared. Shadow extraction cannot be used as the monster, demonic jester, is contaminated. "What?" Void shouted in shock. "What's wrong?" Sally asked as she and Maple approached him. "Take a look at this," Void said, showing them the message. "It must be a hidden debuff from the last game update," Sally speculated. "Well, no need to cry over spilled milk. Just when I thought the admins couldn't nerf me any further," Void said dramatically, anime tears streaming down his face as Sally and Maple tried to console him. Time skip. After calming Void down, the trio left the dungeon. "Now then, what should we do next?" Sally asked. "Let's go forward," Void suggested. "Yeah. I don't think the grassland will continue past that tall mountain," Maple said, pointing at the mountain in the distance. "Yeah, you're right. Then let's go," Sally said. "Okay." Void and Maple agreed. Off the trio went toward the snowy mountains, searching for their next dungeon to explore and boss to defeat. The journey continued. On top of the snowy mountain, The heroes reached the summit of the snowy mountain. "We're here," Maple said, sitting down in the snow. "It's really strange that the snow isn't cold at all," she added, grabbing a handful of snow. "Yeah, you can only experience this in a game," Sally remarked. "Hey guys, check what I found," Void shouted, waving his arms. "What did you find?" Sally asked, walking over to him. Void didn't say anything and just pointed in a direction. Sally followed his gaze and saw a teleport. "That's Maple, come over here for a..." Sally cut herself off as she noticed a group of people approaching and took a fighting stance while Void stood still. The group of people prepared for battle as well. Seeing Sally ready to fight, Maple stood up, picked up her shield, and looked over to where Sally and Void were focused. "Crom?" she said, confused. "Oh, Maple, it's you. And Sally and Void, right?" Crom asked. The two in question stood beside Maple and confirmed, yes. Sally stood ready for a confrontation, her expression unyielding, while Void prepared to summon his army for support. "Oh, we have no intention of fighting you," Crom said, glancing at his companions. "That's right," the one with the staff added. "We're not going to fight you," the warrior-looking member chimed in. "I don't want to fight someone I know either," Maple said. "Fine by me," Void replied with a smile. "Well, if that's what you two say, then fine. If you'd come at us, I would have dealt with you," Sally said seriously. "Scary. There are a lot of people who think it's more efficient to engage others in battle and take their medals," Crom remarked. "Crom, are you having trouble finding medals?" Maple asked. "Yeah, we didn't find any on our first day. I thought we could start fresh and get our hands on some medals today, but it seems only one party can enter. It's unfortunate we ran into you here," Crom explained. "Hey, Sally, Void. Should we let Crom and his party have this one?" Maple suggested, looking at the two. "Huh?" Crom exclaimed, confused. "I don't mind. Are you okay with that?" Sally asked, turning to Void. "Yeah, sure. I don't mind. We can find another dungeon instead." "How about you, Maple?" Void replied. "Yeah. We got medals yesterday, and Crom helped me out when I first started," Maple said enthusiastically. "Okay, since we've all decided," Sally said. "Crom, you guys can go ahead and enter," Maple said. "Are you three okay with that? Usually, the first party that arrives gets to go in." Crom said. "It's fine," Maple assured him with a smile. "Hey then, thanks. Don't come complaining to us later if we end up with a ton of medals," Crom said gratefully as his party entered the portal, leaving the three heroes to themselves again. As the trio gazed at the portal where Crom and his party had just entered, they began discussing their next move. Their conversation was cut short when the portal lit up again, indicating it could be entered once more. "Huh!" the trio exclaimed. "It seems that we can enter the dungeon now," Void said, surprised. "But I thought only one party could go in," Maple said, puzzled. "There are two possibilities. First, they might have finished quickly and collected all the rewards. The other is that they were defeated by a strong boss," Sally explained. "What should we do?" Sally asked, looking at Maple. Void simply waited for Maple to decide. "Let's go," Maple said, determination on her face, despite a hint of nervousness. "But we don't know what's waiting for us. Maple, prepare foul feeder just in case." "Void, you know what to do," Sally instructed. "Of course," Void replied, readying himself. "Okay," Maple said, equipping her black rose shield. The three were transported to a vast ice cavern with a large opening above and bones scattered along the sides. As they ventured deeper into the cavern, Maple remarked, "There's no one here. I have a bad feeling about this," Void said, daggers in hand, prepared for anything. "Yeah," Sally agreed, her senses heightened. As they continued walking, they reached the peak and spotted a bird figure descending from the sky. The bird swooped down, launching two large icicles toward them. The trio narrowly dodged the attack, watching in awe as the bird gracefully perched on the peak. "It looks strong. But we can't lose," Sally said, steeling herself for battle. "Come forth," Void shouted, summoning his army, who appeared eager for the fight. Void activated his abilities while Maple braced herself to absorb damage, just as the battle was about to begin. The bird's health bar appeared, labeled Silverwing. Get ready, Void called, and Maple and Sally nodded in agreement. The bird wrapped its wings around itself, then unleashed a barrage of icicles the size of humans, hurtling toward them with incredible speed. Maple stepped forward, throwing her shield to Sally and using her protective skill, while Void's soldiers formed a defensive line. They can hold out for a while, Void observed, watching the scene unfold. Nice, the attack isn't getting through, Sally noted. Yeah, and I can still take damage and use Foul Feeder as well, Maple added. The defense held strong until it suddenly faltered, causing the trio to look at the bird with curiosity. As the bird screeched, it conjured a giant icicle as large as itself. It switched things up, Sally exclaimed. The bird launched the massive icicle, but it was intercepted by Tusk's powerful ability. It's time for a counterattack, Void shouted, charging toward the bird with Sally and his army right behind him. Iron used his taunting skill while dodging incoming attacks. Tusk unleashed a series of debilitating hymns on the bird, while simultaneously empowering Void and protecting Iron. Igris followed his master into battle, and Sylvan summoned thick vines to bind the bird and strike at it. With the bird blinded, in pain, and restrained, the trio seized the opportunity to attack, chipping away at its health rapidly. Maple managed to sever one of its legs while Sally and Void continued their relentless assault alongside their army. As the bird's health dwindled, it unleashed a burst of ice when only a third of its health remained, knocking most of them back and freeing itself from the vines. Flying high above, the trio realized what the bird was doing. It transformed the vines into ice, shattering them and removing all the debuffs placed upon it. The bird began charging up for an attack aimed directly at the trio. Maple quickly used her protective skills just in time, deflecting the attack and ensuring none of her allies were harmed. Its health is only a third of what it was. Let's finish this before we face any casualties. How many more times can you use Foul Feeder, Maple? Sally asked, her focus unwavering. I can still use it 8 more times, Maple replied. What about you, Void? Do you still have some mana left? Sally asked. Void popped a mana potion until his mana bar was full again and replied with a grin. Huh? Me run out of mana? Girl, who do you think I am? This made the other two giggle. But in all seriousness, let's end this right now, Void declared. Yeah, the two girls chimed in unison. The bird transformed into mist while maintaining its shape and prepared to charge at the trio. It's coming, Sally shouted. Maple braced herself to absorb the incoming attack, but Sylvan intervened with his own shield. The force of the attack was too strong, knocking Sylvan back into the wall and sending him back to Void's shadow. Now Maple was ready to take the hit, but once again, Tusk used him of protection. However, the attack was still too powerful, shattering the barrier. Determined, Maple prepared to withstand the blow, only to be sent crashing against the wall. This created an opening for Sally, Void, and his army to strike. Without wasting a moment, they unleashed their full power, with Void finishing it off using Moonlight Sonic. The battle turned in favor of the trio as the bird disintegrated into particles, and Void's army returned to his shadow. The three of them dropped to the ground and sighed in relief. We won, Maple said. I thought we were done for, Sally admitted. Same, Void replied, momentarily forgetting that he had been at full health the entire time. I learned a new skill during the last moments of our fight, Maple said. What is it? The other two asked eagerly. It's called Indomitable Guardian. Once a day, I can withstand any attack and remain with just 1 HP, Maple explained. Oh what? Maple, you're at 1 HP? Sally exclaimed, looking shocked. Maple giggled, scratching the back of her head. Sally healed Maple until she was back to full health. Once they were done, the trio split up to pursue their individual interests. Sally went off to search for treasure, Maple looked around for any loot the boss had dropped, and Void checked the new messages he had received. He had leveled up to level 80, his skill, Lord's Authority, had evolved into Ruler's Authority, and he had gained a new skill called Shadow Exchange. Void noticed an orb left by Silverwing. He approached it and commanded, "Arise." Moments later, shadows began to swirl around, and a message appeared. Extraction failed. 2 attempts left. Void shouted, "Arise." His voice echoed through the caverns, startling both Maple and Sally. Then, the shadowy figure of the bird bowed its head to Void. Extraction successful. The shadow's rank is Commander. Name the shadow. The message appeared before Void. Your name will be Articuno, Void declared, and a new message appeared, Articuno rank, Commander. Void smiled, pleased to add another commander rank to his growing army without any sacrifices this time. As he reveled in his success, he was interrupted when Sally called him over to where she and Maple were. Void was about to perform some epic parkour to reach them but had a brilliant idea instead. He rode on Articuno, and as they landed, he approached them and saw. "Are those eggs?" I asked. "Yeah, but they don't look like they belong to the bird monster. They're different in color and shape," Sally explained. "Can we take them?" Maple asked. "It seems so," Sally replied. "Then I'm taking the green one," Maple declared, holding up the green egg. "What about you, Void?" Sally asked. "I'll take this one," I said, picking up a cool-looking egg. "Then I'll take this," Sally said, selecting the white egg. Suddenly, a message popped up for all of us. "Monster egg," Maple said, confused. "It hatches when it's warm," Void said. "There's not much information," Maple said with a frown. "We might be able to tame them. You know, have them around like pets," Sally suggested with a smile. "Pets? That would be amazing," Maple exclaimed, then turned to Void and said, "Don't you think?" But my attention was elsewhere as I hugged the egg and said, "I always wanted a pet, but my parents said I couldn't have one because it would be a huge responsibility. I think that's nonsense. I know for a fact that I will love you no matter what kind of creature you turn out to be, so hurry up and hatch." "You should hurry up and hatch as well," Maple said, hugging her egg too. "Hey, let's get out of here. It looks like we can choose where we want to go," Sally said, pointing to 3 portals. "I want to go somewhere without any battles for now," Maple said. "Me too," Sally agreed. "Me 3, I added with a smile. We gathered our 5 medals and started heading toward the portals. "Dash?" "Silverwing got defeated," Blue exclaimed. "Silverwing? It wasn't meant to be beatable by players, right?" Pink asked. "It's the embodiment of our malice, packed with skills that deal crazy damage," Green explained. Who beat it?" Yellow asked. "This is it," Purple said as a screen popped up, showing a video of the event. "Void and Maple? Seriously?" Pink said in disbelief. "Come on, no matter how strong they are, they couldn't have beaten Silverwing." Pink continued. "She shouldn't have enough mobility, and he shouldn't have enough health. It's not possible." Green exclaimed. "Wait, the eggs? Don't tell me they took the cryptid's eggs?" Green continued. "What was inside?" Yellow asked. "The fox, the turtle, the snake, and the dragon." Green answered. "At least 2 of those weren't the worst ones," Green added. "I can't believe they took them," Pink said. "If you're free, please check the skills that can be obtained with medals again. Check again if there are any skills that can be used in unusual ways." Blue said, "Yes, sir," the rest replied in unison. "Our workload just increased again." Blue sighed. Unknown location. From a third-person perspective, we see our heroes hiding behind a rock as players battled each other for medals. Sally was getting fired up at the thought of fighting other players, causing Maple and Void to exchange puzzled glances. Time skip. Our heroes found themselves in the middle of a bamboo forest as the sun began to set, hugging their eggs to provide more skin contact, as Maple suggested. Another time skip. Morning arrived, and the trio was near a riverbank eagerly waiting for their eggs to hatch. After a while, the eggs began to move, and cracks appeared on each one. Anticipation lit up their faces as the eggs cracked open, revealing a turtle and a fox. "They're so cute," all 3 of them exclaimed. The shells started to glow, leaving behind rings as the light faded. "A ring?" Maple asked. It says, Bridge of Bonds. By equipping this, you will be able to fight alongside your monster. Sally explained. As they put on the rings, the trio began to play with their new pets, cuddling them with pure joy on their faces. Void watched them with a hint of envy until he heard his egg finally hatch. To his surprise, two creatures emerged, a snake and a dragon. Just like before, the shell glowed, leaving behind another ring. What? All three of them exclaimed in shock. They speculated about why there were two creatures inside one egg, attributing it to one of the admin's ideas. As they cuddled their newfound pets, they discovered they could see their stats, but first they needed to name them. Maple went first, naming her turtle Syrup. Sally followed, naming her fox Oboro. Finally, Void named the snake Buros and the dragon Isildur. Time skip. The heroes were now fighting mobs with their new pets, leveling them up to level 3 as the sun began to set. As the pets leveled up, they learned a new skill called Dormancy and Awakening, allowing them to return to the rings at will. Happy with their progress, the trio set up camp by a cave as night fell. Time skip. Morning came, and the heroes traveled through the desert until they spotted an oasis and a woman with a katana hiding behind a tree. As she emerged from her hiding place, she immediately took a fighting stance, prompting Sally and Void to do the same, while Maple looked on in confusion. "You have a gold medal, don't you?" the samurai woman asked, still poised for action. "Huh?" she exclaimed as she readied her shield. Not a sound was heard from the players as the wind blew through their hair and clothes during the intense standoff, except for Maple. After a minute of intense staring, the samurai cracked a small smile, dropped her stance, and said with her eyes closed, "Fighting 3 against 1 puts me at a disadvantage. You think we just let you go on your merry way after picking a fight with us?" Sally retorted. The samurai opened one eye and smiled before using super acceleration, zipping right past them and leaving a cloud of smoke. Sally quickly activated super acceleration as well, following right behind her, leaving Maple and Void behind. Void dropped his stance and looked back, noticing the two were already far ahead. Maple exclaimed, looking around and seeing what Void saw. "We should go after them," Maple said, running with all the speed she could muster. "Wait, Maple." "And she's out of earshot." "Well, I guess I'll go to Sally first," Void said, thinking Maple would be all right. He used Shadow Exchange and found Sally and the samurai girl in a standoff until the samurai girl looked at Void, confused. "How did you do that?" she asked. "Why should I tell you?" Sally replied smugly. "I think she's talking about me," Void chimed in, startling Sally as she turned around. "Since when did you get here?" she shouted. Before Void could respond, they all heard a scream and a voice shouting, "Stop!" They turned to see Maple using her shield as a sled, crashing right into the middle of where Void, Sally, and the samurai stood, causing a cloud of dust to erupt as the ground began to shift. The sand swirled around them like water going down a drain, pulling them into its flow until they reached the center, where they were drawn down as the vortex of sand settled back into its original flat surface. After the ordeal, the 3 heroes and the samurai girl found themselves in what appeared to be an underground tunnel. As Void, Sally, and the samurai got up and looked around, they noticed that one of their hands was handcuffed. Void checked his wrist and saw that he was cuffed as well, while Maple slowly sat up, rubbing her eyes and realizing she was cuffed too. Cursed chains that bind 4 people. Those joined together share the same fate, and if one person dies, all of them will die. Indestructible, the samurai read aloud. "That's harsh," Sally said. "Talk about one for all for one," Void added, tuning out the rest of the conversation as he used copy on the indestructible item, expending half of his mana just to replicate it. His eyes widened, but he quickly brushed it off and used skill modification, using up all the mana. He had left. A new message appeared, piquing Sally's curiosity. She leaned over Void's shoulder to read it. As she read the message, her expression grew increasingly shocked. Binding chains, cursed chains that bind players within a 100-meter radius. The players that are bound share the same fate, and if one of them dies, all of them will die. Indestructible. MP uses 50 every minute. She looked at Void and shouted, "House! How did you get this skill?" grabbing him by the collar and shaking him vigorously. "Stop please Yamada, stop," Void pleaded, starting to feel dizzy. "Oh, sorry Void," Sally said, releasing him. "It's okay. I'll tell you later," Void replied, the dizziness fading away. Void turned to their temporary ally and smiled shyly. "Oh sorry, my name's Void. Nice to meet you." The girl giggled and replied, "Please, there's no need to be polite. My name is Kasumi. It's nice to meet you too." With introductions complete, the heroes and their new allies set off to explore and find a way out of the dungeon. During their journey, Maple discovered 2 silver medals. As they walked, the entire cave suddenly began to shake. The 4 stopped and looked around, spotting a giant snail with no health bar appearing. They quickly hid and brainstormed ways to escape with their lives intact, only to see many more of the unkillable snails starting to appear. Sally and Kasumi exchanged glances and nodded. Both activated super acceleration, dragging Maple and Void along as they ran until they found themselves surrounded by the unkillable snails. The 4 searched for an exit until Maple spotted a hole in the wall. Kasumi had an idea and said to Sally, "Sally, use jump to reach that hole." "But it's too high," Sally protested. "I'll do something, just hurry," Kasumi urged. Sally used jump, almost reaching the hole, while Kasumi activated third Tachi, Arc Moon, leaping midair and performing a backflip to land inside the hole. As Sally and Kasumi complimented each other and shared a moment of camaraderie, Void pointed out a door. They entered and discovered a chest, while the cuffs began to dissolve into particles, freeing them from their shackles. Sally opened the chest, revealing a shield, a staff, a spear, 4 scrolls, and 2 silver medals. They each took a scroll, while Maple received a new shield and 1 silver medal, and Kasumi got the staff, spear, and 1 silver medal as well. As they exited the dungeon, they were greeted by the moon shining in the night sky, signaling the end of the 4th day. Kasumi bid them farewell, apologizing as she left the trio to search for medals on their own once more. Sally turned to Void and asked, "How did you get that skill, Void?" "What skill?" Void replied, "That overkill skill. The binding chains. How did you get it?" Sally exclaimed, leaving Maple confused. "Oh, you mean this," Void said, showing the description of his new skill, binding chains. "Yes, that one," Sally said, while Maple read the skill, her expression growing more shocked as well. "Oh, it's easy. I just used these," Void explained, revealing the descriptions of copy and skill modification. The 2 girls shouted to the night sky. The next morning, they found themselves with 2 gold and 12 silver as they explored the map, eventually spotting a waterfall, wondering if something lay hidden behind it. As they ventured behind the structure, they discovered a chest containing a medal. On the 5th day at noon, they noted their progress. -2 gold, -13 silver. The trio continued their journey until they found themselves in the midst of a sandstorm. They spotted a house filled with pots and began searching through them for medals. In the end, Void and Sally came up empty-handed, while Maple found a dud. On the 5th day at noon, their tally was -2 gold, -13 silver. Next, we see our heroes fishing in the middle of a lake. By the end of the day, Sally and Void each managed to catch a medal. On the 5th day in the evening, their progress was -2 gold, -15 silver. Now, the 3 found themselves in a dungeon filled with traps. Maple and Void walked through, seemingly unfazed by the traps being triggered, while Sally was more cautious. Eventually, Maple discovered a chest containing a silver medal, and Void smiled at Sally, a bead of sweat forming on his forehead. On the 5th day at night, their tally was -2 gold, -16 silver. In a graveyard, the trio searched for medals again. However, while 2 of them focused on the task, Sally was preoccupied, being chased by zombies, spirits, and a plague doctor wielding a scythe. In the end, Void found a medal hidden beneath a skull. On the 5th day at night, their progress was -2 gold, -17 silver. The following day, Sally emerged from the water, beaming after finding a medal. She noticed an impressive sandcastle and wondered aloud, what have they been up to? Then she heard Maple exclaim, wait, you can't do that. Curious, she went around the sandcastle and found Maple pouting after losing a game to a stranger with red hair and beginner gear. Done. It's now perfect, the red-haired girl announced. I lost again. Maple sighed in defeat. The girl turned to Sally, prompting Maple to follow her gaze. Oh, welcome back, Sally. Maple greeted. Thanks. Who's this? And where's Void? Sally asked, a hint of confusion in her voice. I'm Kanade. Up until now, I was building a sandcastle with Maple and Void. Speaking of which, there's Void over there, Kanade said, pointing to Void, who was resting under a tree, enjoying the shade and ocean breeze. It was fun. Maple added with a smile. Right. Kanade agreed, grinning. Maple, are you sure this is okay? Sally whispered. I think it's fine, Maple replied. Well, I'm only level. I'm not proud of it, but I'm really weak. I'm not interested in medals either, Kanade admitted. Really? Maple asked, intrigued. Yeah. I'm happy with just this, Kanade said, revealing a Rubik's Cube to Maple and Sally. I got this after solving a puzzle at an old library. It took me 4 days. This staff comes with a skill, Kanade explained. Staff? You mean that cube? Sally asked, puzzled. Wow, that's really rare. What does it do? Maple inquired. It's called Akashic Records, and when I use this, it's still a secret, Kanade said, a smug smile on her face. Oh, okay, Maple replied, smiling but with a hint of sweat on her brow. Well, I was expecting that, Sally added, also sweating slightly. Let's hang out again after the event. Sally, can I add you to my friend list too? Kanade. Sure, Sally replied. You can have this as proof of our friendship, Kanade said, handing a book to Maple. What's this? Maple asked, curious. It's a book I found in the library. It might be a hint for the event, Kanade explained. Sally began reading the riddle. Do you know what that means? Maple asked. Of course, it took me no time at all, Kanade said confidently. Can you tell us? Maple pressed. No, you need to try to figure it out yourselves. Riddles are fun until solved, Kanade replied playfully. In the ruins, the heroes walked toward a platform as the sun began to set. Sally stepped onto the platform and used Ocean on the statue, while Maple employed Poison Dragon on the other 3. Void observed his friends, trying to solve the puzzle. Suddenly, the ground shook and emitted a bright light. The trio was transported to some ruins beneath the ocean, protected by a barrier that created a large pocket of air for them. Before long, they began to hear boss music. Sally and Maple prepared for battle, while Void stood there, exhausted, before moving behind Maple and saying, just poison the water with your dragon already. It'll weaken the boss since it's constantly poisoned. Maple nodded and unleashed Poison Dragon, gradually depleting the Sea Emperor's health until it was defeated, transporting the trio to a place known as the Blue and Silent Sea and earning them 2 medals. As they explored, Void noticed an orb and approached it. Arise! Void commanded, and the shadow of the Sea Emperor began to emerge, startling Maple and Sally slightly. Extraction successful. The shadow's rank is Commander. Name the shadow. The message appeared before Void. Handsome Squidward, he named his new commander, and another message appeared. Handsome Squidward rank, Commander. Void smiled, pleased to have another boss monster as a summon, with plenty of room for more recruits. He turned to Maple and Sally and asked, You guys want to ride? Yeah, they both exclaimed excitedly. Meanwhile, in an unknown location, Yellow said, Hey! Wow, as expected of me from the kingdom of the Flame Emperor. What charisma! They're efficiently gathering medals as a group, Pink interrupted. As for single-bodied competency, Pain is definitely at the top. He's used to fighting and wins every player battle he engages in, Blue added. Hey, it's time we face reality. About Maple and Void. Yellow began. Stop. I don't want to hear it. Blue interjected. The Sea Emperor got wiped out too? They're just invincible, Pink remarked. They're becoming more like a last boss than the last boss we created, Yellow said. On an unknown shore, the heroes rested near a cave, discussing strategies for earning more medals on the last day. Sally suggested that she and Void venture out to fight for more medals while Maple stayed at the cave. Void was hesitant about that idea but proposed an alternative. He and Maple would remain while Sally and his army searched for more medals. They agreed on that plan, and Void summoned his army, which consisted of Commander Sylvan, Articuno, Elite Knight Igris, Iron, Tank, Tusk, and 350 soldiers. 700 elite. While his other commander, Handsome Squidward, was left to guard the two in case anything happened to them, Sally gave her ring to Maple and left with the Shadow Army, planning to hunt for some victims on her own. The next day, Sally returned with 2 silver medals while the army was still out there hunting for more. The trio was chatting until they heard footsteps approaching. Sally and Void got into a defensive stance but soon relaxed when they saw it was Kasumi. They all agreed to hide for the last day of the event together, and then Maple cast Poison Dragon at the cave entrance to deter any players from entering. As time passed, the 3 girls played games, with Maple winning every time while Void watched Sally and Kasumi struggle against her. The army returned with 8 medals, and with the event nearing its end, they had just enough medals to meet their goal: 2 gold and 30 medals in total. The 4 went to an open area to test their newly acquired skills. Maple purchased the skills Supersize and Psychokinesis for Syrup to learn, while Void got Dragon Ascend and Serpent Bloodline for his 2 pets. Maple showcased a floating, supersized turtle and summoned a poison cloud, taking out a herd of creatures. The 3 girls stood there with blank expressions, a sweat drop forming on their brows. "What did you get, Sally, Kasumi, Void?" Maple asked. "Secret." Sally and Kasumi replied in unison. "I got 2 skills," Void said. "Can you show us?" Sally asked eagerly. "Sure," Void replied as he summoned Boris and Isildur. "So the skills you bought were for your pets too?" Kasumi inquired. Boris, use Serpent Bloodline. Isildur, use Dragon Ascend." Void commanded. A bright light enveloped the 2 creatures, resembling a Pokémon evolution. As the light faded, the cute baby snake and dragon transformed into 2 titans, roaring with pride. After the second event, the chat room buzzed with excitement, discussing the impressive feats of a player and a group of monsters. Users soon discovered that the player was Sally and the group of monsters belonged to Void. The fanbase began to give the trio nicknames based on their strength: Sally, the Blue Demon; Maple, the Walking Fortress; Void, the King of the Monsters. In the starting town of the 2nd floor, we see 2 of our heroes logging into NWO. "It's been 3 days," Maple exclaimed, a huge smile on her face. "Welcome back, Maple. Let me get straight to it. While you were gone, they've added new elements to the game," Sally said. "New elements?" Maple asked, intrigued. "Yeah. There are golden insects called light bugs that appear in fields now. Catching one earns you the right to buy a guild home," Sally explained. "Guild home?" Maple echoed. "This city has many buildings that can't be entered, right? You can make one of those your own home. We've been staying in inns and huts up until now, but from now on, we'll be able to create a building as our very own HQ," Sally elaborated. "Wow. Then let's go find a light bug right away." "But Void isn't here yet," Maple said. "I thought you'd say that, so Void and I caught one while you were taking a break. And Void isn't here because he went into a dungeon he's trying to clear, called the Demon Castle. We also visited his floating island on the 1st floor and discovered that he can shrink it into a model that can be stored in his inventory and moved around. Isn't that amazing?" Sally explained. "Wow. I expected no less from the 2 of you. So where is this model?" Maple asked. "I have it. He asked me to keep it safe while he's away." "Well, enough of that. Shall we go find our new home?" Sally suggested. "Yes. But what about Void?" Maple asked. "Don't worry, he said whatever home we choose is fine with him," Sally reassured her. "Then let's go find our new home," Maple exclaimed. In floor 99, we see Void sitting atop a pile of defeated demons, watching his summons eliminate the remaining foes as he awaited the demon with the entry permit to fall. Flashback. Demon Castle key obtained. You may now enter the Demon Castle. The location of the door will be shown on your map. Void read the message while holding the key in his left hand. After exploring the castle and obtaining the light bug with Sally, Void expressed his desire to go solo for a while and clear a high-level dungeon. Sally, being lower-leveled than Void, understood and set off to get stronger as well. After stocking up on MP and HP potions, Void set off for the dungeon, soaring on the wings of Articuno, reaching his destination in no time. However, he was stopped by a creature resembling Fluffy from Harry Potter. Articuno quickly dispatched the boss, reducing it to particles and making the door available to open. Before approaching the door, he turned to the orb of Fluffy and commanded, "Arise." Shadow extraction cannot be used as the monster, Hell's Gatekeeper Cerberus, is contaminated. Void sighed. I knew this wouldn't work. Unless... An idea struck him. He accessed his menu to review his stats and skills. There he saw, Shadow extraction, lets the user summon the shadows of monsters killed. Cannot summon monsters with contaminated mana. MP, 0. With a grin, he executed a clever plan. He used skill modification on Shadow extraction, consuming all his mana, but instead of feeling disheartened, he wore a triumphant smile. The new skill read as, Shadow extraction, lets the user summon the shadows of any monsters killed. MP, 0. He quickly consumed an MP potion until his mana was full again, just to be safe. He looked back at the orb and commanded, "Arise." The shadow swirled around the orb, taking the form of a three-headed dog, just as Articuno had done. Then a message appeared, extraction successful. The shadow's rank is Elite Knight. Name the shadow. What should I name you? What should I name you? Void said, tapping his chin thoughtfully. Anubis. Yeah, I'm going to call you Anubis. He felt proud of the name as he typed it in. Anubis rank, Elite Knight. A message popped up. I've been getting summon after summon without sacrificing any of them in the process. Wait a minute, didn't I have some job-exclusive skills that I haven't read yet? What was I thinking? I should have done this from the beginning. Void lightly smacked his head in frustration. He opened his menu again and scrolled through his skills, finally finding the job-exclusive skills he had overlooked. Shadow Save, passive allows the user to save a limited number of shadows. The amount the user can save depends on their level. Void grinned as he used skill modification again, draining all his mana, but it was worth it to change the skill to fit his desires. As he read the new skill, Shadow Save, passive allows the user to store an unlimited number of shadows in their own shadow. He quickly consumed mana potions until his mana was full again. Returning Anubis and Articuno to his shadow, he approached the large doors with the key in hand. As he unlocked them, loud mechanical noises echoed through the air. The doors opened slowly, revealing a dimly lit hallway, the only light source being the open door itself. The walls were adorned with statues of demons, and there was another door at the far end. Wow. Now this is demonic, Void remarked, taking in the eerie surroundings. Then a message appeared. Quest, collect demon souls, Part 1, 10,000 demon souls. Rewards, item of choice, plus 20 bonus stats, hidden reward. Do you accept? Why? It's been a while since I've gotten a quest. The rewards aren't bad either, Void said, pressing Y. He walked toward the other door and opened it, thinking to himself, this dungeon must be tough if the rewards are this good. He stood in awe, eyes wide as he gazed at what looked like a post-apocalyptic version of the NWO. Void sighed, muttering, why did I have to jinx myself? I'm going to be the Demon King. Ha, he exclaimed, then coughed and cleared his throat. That wraps up my hype corner. Thanks for reading. Love the support. Stay safe and be yourself. Bye. -1th floor. In a third-person perspective, we see Void looking around the new apocalyptic environment. Did the developers really create an apocalyptic version of the NWO map? Void wondered aloud as he surveyed his surroundings. Suddenly, he sensed a horde of monsters approaching. Ready to fight, He gripped his weapons, sin and punishment, while his passive skill, Heath's Embrace, granted him immunity from the constant burn debuff. In the distance, he saw the monsters charging toward him. Without wasting any time, he activated MP Cut, Accelerate, and then Pride, dashing through the enemies using Flash Blink before engaging in battle. As he fought, he showed no mercy, cutting down his foes left and right, their forms dissolving into particles that left behind soul orbs. He received an entry permit, indicating he could now advance to the second floor. Turning to look at the orbs, he took a deep breath and raised his arm high into the sky, shouting, "Explosion!" Void scanned the area, trying to see if anything had happened. "Well, at least I tried," he said, then shouted, "Arise," summoning the shadows to take the form of the monsters he had defeated. Just some soldier-ranked monsters. Oh well, at least they make for good fodder, he giggled, commanding them to join the rest of his army. His gaze shifted toward a beacon lighting up the sky. That must be the entrance to the second floor. Well, I know where to go now, he said to himself, chuckling. Void summoned Articuno and hopped on its back as it soared toward the beacon, taking out demons with icy projectiles while adding them to his army. Each dungeon floor had its own unique version of the NWO, with a demon holding an entry permit on each one. As time passed, Void climbed the floors at an impressive pace, reaching the 50th floor on the first day, increasing his army by 1,000. While leveling them up and evolving the skill ruler's authority to Dominator's touch. Upon arriving at the 50th floor with his army, he headed straight for the beacon marking the entrance to the 51st floor, waiting for the demon with the entry permit. When he reached the entrance, he soon realized why no demons had attacked him on the way. It was a boss floor, guarded by a massive demon and its minions. Void's summons engaged the guards while he approached the formidable foe. A health bar appeared with the name Avaricious Vulcan. Activating stealth, he slipped past the demon guards with ease. As he neared Vulcan, he thought, that guy isn't moving at all. Something isn't right. Suddenly, the boss vanished, leaving Void stunned as he stared at the empty space with wide eyes. Frantically looking around, he spotted the boss preparing to attack his summons. Without hesitation, Void used binding chains to ensnare both the guards and Vulcan. He swiftly approached one of the guards and executed Focused Slash, defeating it in a single blow. The rest of the chained guards fell as well, dissolving into particles and leaving behind orbs. While his summons dealt with the remaining guards, another victory was added to Void's record. What was that? You really can't judge a book by its cover. Oh well, at least I won. Now it's time to claim my rewards, Void said, rubbing his hands together mischievously. He spotted the drops from Vulcan, the Demon Monarch's earring, Orb of Avarice, World Tree Fragment, and 2 Vulcan's horns. Void equipped the earring, then handed the orb to Tusk since it doubled magic damage. He raised his hand high in the sky and shouted, "Arise!" as the shadows danced around him, taking form. Extraction successful. One of the shadows' rank is Commander. Name the shadow. The message appeared in front of Void. You're going to be called Red Sanic, Void said with a smile, knowing that most of the Japanese audience might not be familiar with Western memes. A new message popped up, Red Sanic rank, Commander. Void then cleared the floors faster than one could pronounce otorhinolaryngologist correctly. 75 to floor. Void and his army easily defeated Midas and his forces. As he obtained the Demon Monarch's necklace, the spring water of the echoing forest, and the demon's souls sealed within Midas' pendant, he leveled up by 10 as well. He glanced at Midas' soul orb on the ground and then at the other orbs. With a Cheshire grin, he declared, "Arise." Shadows swirled around the orbs, taking form. Extraction successful. One of the shadows' rank is Commander. Name the shadow. The same message appeared again. Void pondered for a moment before an idea struck him. He looked at Midas' shadow and said with a smile, "You shall be known as Decay." Afterward, Void examined the rewards he received for completing the quest. Quest: Collect Demon Souls, Part 1, 10,000 Demon Souls. Complete. Rewards: Item of Choice, plus 20 bonus stats, Hidden Reward. Void chose a random item box for his item of choice, keeping it for later, and received a recipe for holy water of life. He sighed with a smile and said, "Let's go. I want to finish this dungeon before Maple returns from her vacation so we can pick a house together." Void entered the 76th floor with his army behind him, clearing the floors until they reached the 99th floor. His Shadow's domain skill evolved into Monarch's domain. End of flashback. 99th floor. From a third-person perspective, we see Void and his army preparing for the inevitable battle ahead. His army consisted of Commander Slyvan, Articuno, Handsome Squidward, Red Sanic, Decay, Elite Knight Igris, Iron, Tank, Tusk, Anubis, 7,000 soldiers, and 300 elites. Void looked at his army before returning them to his shadow as he entered the 100th floor, only to be met by the Demon King himself, accompanied by his army. Void sighed and said with a playful smile, "Well, you're going to be a fine addition to my army, T. 100th floor. From a third-person perspective, we see a level 93 Void surveying a ruined castle when a loud shriek echoed from above, accompanied by a menacing aura that made him shiver. Looking up, he spotted a figure perched atop a tower, a white wyvern and a shadowy figure with blood-red eyes, wielding a long sword. As the monster's HP bar appeared alongside its name, Void read aloud, "Demon King Baron." Then a message popped up, "Quest, collect Demon Soul, Part 2, defeat Demon King Baron. Rewards, plus 30 bonus stats, top-tier rune stone, undisclosed. Do you accept? YN. This is going to be quite the battle," Void thought as he glanced at Baron and the wyvern's HP, which was labeled Kaizelin. He tapped the yes button. "An enemy that can fly is really annoying to deal with," he sighed. Suddenly, the wyvern soared into the sky as Baron raised his sword, summoning a horde of demon knights and generals by the thousands. Void stood unfazed as the army charged at him, roaring fiercely. Activating MP Cut, Pride, and then Monarch's domain as the army approached, Void shouted, "Come out!" One of the demons, attempting to intimidate him, was silenced as a spear erupted from the ground, striking him down. The same fate befell the rest of the demons as spears emerged from the earth, and Void's shadow soldiers began to emerge, launching a fierce counterattack. Chaos ensued as the shadow soldiers rampaged, taking down any demon in their path. The battlefield was littered with remnants of the fight vines and ice scattered everywhere. "I think I might have overdone it with the army," Void mused as he watched Decay summon monsters. Igris cut through their defenses, Tusk unleashed him of combustion, taking down multiple demons at once, while Iron and Tank broke through enemy lines. Slyvan used his vines, Articuno launched ice spikes, and Red Sanic fought valiantly, resembling a warrior ready for battle. Anubis guarded Void, using his tentacles to shield him. As the battle raged on, Baron opened his mouth wide, electricity crackling within, and unleashed a storm of lightning that struck down, stunning some of Void's army. An area of effect skill that stuns multiple enemies. "If I don't take him down now, I'll surely lose this battle," Void thought, gripping his weapons tightly as he activated agility and stealth. He maneuvered through the rubble, leaping to the highest tower to confront Baron. Void aimed for the wyvern's wings with Moonlight Sonic, but Baron blocked the attack with his sword, sending Void crashing to the ground and creating a crater around him. Baron unleashed another electric blast, but Void narrowly escaped, only to find the attack following him relentlessly. "What kind of skill is that?" Void exclaimed, glancing back in shock. Just as he was about to be hit, Tusk intervened with him of the Fire Dragon, meeting Baron's attack in a stalemate. Baron's assault finally ceased, giving Tusk a clear shot at the wyvern. As the wyvern plummeted to the ground, a cloud of dust erupted. Baron emerged from the chaos, and Void stood ready, waiting for him to approach. "So you finally came down, huh? I was starting to get tired from looking up," Void said with a smug look on his face. Suddenly, Baron attacked with his electric mouth again, only to be stopped by Tusk using him of protection. Some of Void's commanders and elite knights gave their all to defeat Baron but were sent back to Void's shadow to wait for an hour. The only ones left were Decay, who was summoning monsters to battle the rest of the demon army, Tusk, who was protecting Void, Handsome Squidward, who was using its tentacles to attack Baron, Anubis, who was charging in to strike, and Articuno, who was in its enhanced shadowy form. Void saw that Baron had some of his generals behind him, unwilling to fight any longer, and used binding chains on Baron and his generals. Without wasting any time, Tusk activated him of combustion on them, eliminating the generals and, in the process, Baron as well, turning them into particles and leaving behind their orbs. The remaining members of Baron's army were quickly dealt with by Void's forces. Here we see Void standing in front of Baron's orb, gazing at it with greed, with a message on the side saying your level has increased to LVL 97. Quest: Collect Demon Soul, Part 2, Defeat Demon King Baron, complete. Rewards: plus 30 bonus stats, top-tier rune stone, undisclosed. We see the shadows return to Void's shadow as he looks at all the loot he has gathered. The Demon Monarch's ring, Demon King's longsword, Demon King's daggers x2, Baron's horns x2, and the purified blood of the Demon King. Void equipped the ring, gaining plus 20 DX and INT, as well as a set bonus of plus 15 to all stats. Then, this set is incredible. But the real treasure is this, Void said, holding the bottle containing the purified blood of the Demon King. He contemplated it for a moment, then sighed. Oh, it's better to make it now than later. Void then began to craft the holy water of life and succeeded. DMN. I lost a bit of the blood and the tree fragment, but the spring water is completely gone, he said, a hint of sadness in his voice. He looked at the bottle floating in his hand and added, so this is the holy water of life. A potion that can cure any illness. Maybe I'll find a use for it in the future. Void collected his rewards from the quest. A plus 30 bonus to stats, a runestone with the skill, Abyss, sends the user and their enemies to the Abyss where the user can do whatever they want to their enemies, as they are immobilized. MP, 500, and another skill called Eyes of the Abyss? This skill probably needs to be unlocked somehow. I'll figure it out later, Void said with a shrug. He looked around at all the orbs, ripe for the taking. He raised his hand and commanded, Arise. The area filled with wisps of shadow as the soldiers began to gather, adding to Void's military power. However, none of them were even commander grade, let alone elite knights. Void sighed but turned his attention to what he had saved for last, the orb of the Wyvern and Baron himself. He approached the Wyvern first and easily summoned it on the first try. Extraction successful. The Shadow's rank is Elite Knight. Name the Shadow. The same message appeared. Not remembering its name, he typed Kaisel instead. Kaisel rank, Elite Knight, flashed on the screen. Then Void turned to Baron's orb and stepped closer, preparing his voice, eager to have Baron on his team. He looked up at the sky and shouted, Arise. Looking back down, he saw the shadow dancing around, followed by a message that read, Extraction failed. 2 tries remaining. It's fine. It's fine. I still have 2 tries left, Void reassured himself, then shouted again, Arise. The same message appeared, Extraction failed. 1 try remaining. Oh, you stubborn creature. Void exclaimed, taking a deep breath and sighing. It's fine. It's fine. I still have 1 more chance. I'm bound to get lucky. He took another deep breath and declared, Okay, listen here. My summons defeated you, which technically means I defeated you. Since I conquered you, it's only fair that I get you as one of my summons. Now, don't resist and be my summon. Now arise, you formidable monster. The shadows danced around again as they took the form of Baron, only to stop and return to the ground. Void went on a rant, DMNU, luck system, but was interrupted by a message, Extraction successful. The Shadow's rank is Grand Marshal. Name the Shadow. Wow! I actually did it. Yes. I actually did it. Void celebrated, still shaking from excitement. Oh, I already have a name for you. He typed away with a smile on his face. Azazel rank, Grand Marshal, appeared as the message popped up. With a satisfied smile, Void looked around and saw a teleport, thinking it would send him outside of the dungeon. He entered and was teleported to the starting village of the first floor. Looking at the time, he wished he had more to join Sally and Maple in house hunting, but it was time for him to study. With a heavy sigh, he logged out, planning to tell them both during their next gaming session. It's finally published. That's it for HypedLol's Corner. I know it's late, and I have a good explanation for it. It has to do with school and Wi-Fi. Now you know why I didn't publish a chapter after a week. Hope you understand and still enjoy this fanfic. See you in the next one, and have a nice day. Stay safe. Bye. We see Void logging into the game for the first time after days of studying. Maple and Sally stood waiting for their friend to join them after his absence. Void. Over here. Maple shouted, waving her hands. Void looked to where the two girls were and jogged towards them. Welcome back. Sally said with a smile. Hey guys. It's nice to be back. So, what did I miss? Void asked, looking at the two and then his surroundings. Nothing much. We just started a guild, and there's a cow event coming up, but other than that, not much else, Sally explained. Hey Void, want to join our guild? It's called the Maple Tree. Maple said excitedly. Sure, Void replied with a smile. Great. Everyone is at the guild house right now. We should go there and introduce you to everyone, Maple suggested. That sounds great, Void agreed. The three of them began walking toward their guild, sharing stories of their adventures while Void was away. Yeah, we just wanted to get stronger, so we trained while you were gone, Maple explained. So what happened with you? Did you find new skills? Increase your army? Sally began to ask. I got 2 new skills and increased my army by thousands, plus I recruited a soldier with the highest rank possible, Void said, a hint of pride in his voice. The two girls gasped in surprise. What? Yeah, the boss of that dungeon was a demon lord, Void revealed. But wait, Void, doesn't your skill prevent you from summoning demons? Sally asked, looking puzzled. Yeah, but I found a way around it. Remember the skill I showed you when we got trapped in that dungeon with Kasumi? Void explained. You mean skill modification? Maple asked. Yeah, that one. Void exclaimed. Oh, I forgot you had that skill. Wait. Sally shouted. What? Both Maple and Void asked in unison. Void, you can copy any skill and give it to anyone, right? Sally asked, a gleam in her eyes. Yeah. Theoretically. Void replied, unsure. You haven't tried it yet? Sally pressed. Not really. I only copied a skill. I've never given one before, Void clarified. That's fine. We should head back to the house and discuss this more, Sally said, a determined look on her face. Sure. Void said, still feeling a bit confused. Okay, Maple agreed with a smile. Come on, we have to hurry. Sally exclaimed, grabbing both of them by the hand and activating super acceleration, pulling them along as she dashed forward, leaving a cloud of dust behind. Maple Tree House. As Sally ran with Void and Maple in tow, she suddenly stopped in front of a tree, releasing them from her grip. They both stumbled slightly. Sally, you know I can run just as fast, if not faster than you, right? Void said, still trying to regain his balance. Meanwhile, Maple lay on the ground, her eyes spinning and babbling incoherently. Sally looked at them, sweat dropping from her forehead. Sorry, guys, I just got really excited. Now let's get you introduced and discuss the plans for the next event. She hoisted Maple onto her shoulder and kicked the door open, surprising everyone inside. Sally, a familiar voice exclaimed. What happened? Why is Maple over your shoulder? A muffled voice asked. Maple. Sally, 2 high-pitched voices chimed in. What happened to Maple? A concerned voice inquired. Did someone attack you? A cool, calm voice asked, filled with worry. Nothing like that. Maple just got a bit dizzy after I dragged her and our friend back to the tree, Sally explained, allowing Maple to stand on her own. Once Void regained his composure, he stepped inside and saw Crom and 2 girls who looked like twins, Kanade and Kasumi, gathered around the table. Oh, hey guys, Void said with a smile and a wave. Everyone meet Void, our new member. Well, you all know him except for Mai and Yui, Sally introduced. She pointed to the two young girls. These two are Mai and Yui. We scouted them on the first floor. Void approached them and said, "Hi, I'm Void. Nice to meet you." "Hi, I'm Yui. This is my older sister, Mai," the white-haired girl introduced herself. "Nice to meet you," Mai said. Void then turned to the rest of the group. "It's great to see you all again. It's been a long time. I heard you all have been getting stronger. We're just trying to level up as fast as we can before the next event," Is explained. "Yeah, I also heard from Sally that you took on a dungeon and took a break to study," Crumb added. "Yeah, I got a lot stronger after beating that dungeon," Void said with a grin. "What level are you at now, Void?" Kanade asked. "I'm level 97, Void replied proudly. Silence fell over the room as everyone processed this information. "What?" they all exclaimed except for Void. "Wait, did you say 97? Sally asked, astonished. "Yeah. I'm level 97, Void confirmed. "And you have an army that is how many?" Sally continued to question. "Over 9,000, I think?" Void said, scratching his chin thoughtfully. "Wait, Void, you have an army?" Kanade asked, surprised. "Yeah," Void replied with a smile. "So your class must be a summoner. But I've never heard of a summoner able to summon more than 10, let alone 9,000, Is remarked. "And you can also copy and share skills," Sally added. "Yeah," Void confirmed. "Void is really strong," the twins exclaimed. "Strong? More like overpowered, borderline cheating," Crumb said, sweat dropping. "And that's why you're going to be our secret weapon," Sally declared. "What do you mean, Sally?" Maple asked, intrigued. "The next event requires us to collect cowbells by defeating cows, right?" Sally explained. "Yes, that's correct," Kasumi confirmed. "And when your summons defeat something, the experience and loot go to you, right, Void?" Sally asked. "Yeah, but they also receive the same experience when they defeat something," Void clarified. "Then you can send your summons to defeat cows and collect their bells while the rest of us do the same. You can also spy on other guilds and copy their skills, especially from the Congregation of the Holy Sword and the Kingdom of the Flame Emperor," Sally proposed. "That's not a bad idea," Kanade agreed. "But how can he avoid being discovered?" Mai asked. "Yeah, if they find him, they'll surely eliminate him," Yui added. "Let me worry about that. You all focus on collecting those bells and I'll handle the spying," Void assured them. "You already have a plan in mind?" Sally asked, impressed. "Yeah," Void replied, confidence in his voice. "Then all in favor of this plan?" Maple asked. All members raised their hands. "Then all we have to do is prepare for the event. Let's go!" Maple shouted. "Yeah," everyone cheered. A small time skip. "Hi, Kanade. How are you doing?" Void asked as he approached the red-haired boy. "But I'm a boy, not a girl like you." Kanade replied with a smile and a sweat drop. "What? Void exe has stopped working. I'm Kanade. Void is also a boy." Maple explained, making Sally giggle. "What? Kanade.exe has stopped working. Is.exe has stopped working. Crumb.exe has stopped working. Yui.exe has stopped working. My.exe has stopped working. I messed up. Kanade is a boy." Well, that concludes HypedLol's corner. Sorry if it's late, hope it's long enough for you guys. Thank you for all the support, and hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe and be yourself. Bye. Chapter End. Maple Tree Guild House. Third-person POV. It was only an hour before the cowbell event would take place. The members of the Maple Tree were doing last-minute preparations for the event. MP and HP bottles were stocked up, plans were reviewed, and the teams were set. Each member of the guild was paired with one of Void's elite knights or commanders, accompanied by over 1,000 soldiers ready for battle. Maple with Decay. Sally with Handsome Squidward. Kanade with Articuno. Kasumi with Red Sanic. Crom with Anubis. Is with Sylvan. Mai with us. Yui with Iron. They would be racking up points while Void and the rest of his army would spectate their competition. As they waited for Drazo to announce the start of the event, Void gathered his supplies and went to keep an eye on the holy sword. Time skip. After waiting for a while, Drazo finally appeared and announced that the event was now underway. After the announcement, all the guild members split up with their shadow partners, waiting to be called at any moment. Before going any further, Sally messaged Void about the event finally starting. Their plan was to gather as many cows as possible and take them down in one swift attack to save time and energy. And it was working well as they collected bells quickly. With Void, we see Void hiding in the shadows. No one could see or feel his presence as he waited for his prey to emerge from their guild house and then followed them. As time passed, he received a message from Sally that the event was starting now, and on cue, the Holy Sword congregation finally stepped out with their members. He trailed behind them as they moved to the open fields, watching from a distance while they hunted for cows. Time skip. As time went on, Void began to grow impatient, only seeing Dread, Drag, Frederica, and members of the congregation using their skills. The skills Void copied were limited due to his supply of MP bottles. He had skills like Fisher, Stampede, Godspeed, and Multi-Water Bullet. Wanting to see what kind of playstyle Pain had, he summoned Azazel, Igris, Tank, Kaisel, and the remaining forces of his army. Void gave the Demon King's sword to Azazel and made the shadow hop on Kaisel's back while Igris and Tank stayed by his side to protect him in case things went south. His senses began to tingle, making him look behind to see a member from the Holy Sword approaching his army. Not wasting time, Void hid above the trees as the poor lad was about to be startled. He watched as the unknown player made eye contact with Azazel and began to scream as he ran back to the group. Looking at his army, Void gave the order to reveal themselves to the number 1 guild and to wait for his commands to attack. Middle of an open field. Third-person POV. I still can't believe that the girl I helped was actually Maple, Frederica said. I still can't believe she got strong in only a matter of days, Drag added. Her guild is going to be troublesome, I can feel it, Dread said, sensing that they had been watched for some time now. Looking at Pain, Dread said, Pain, I'm still getting that feeling like we're being watched. We should send someone to check it out. I feel it too, Pain replied, scanning for any available member. Steve, come here, he called out. Yeah. Steve asked, can you get at least 5 other members to accompany you to look for anything suspicious in the woods? We feel like something might be watching us, and we want you to see if it's true or not, Pain explained. Sure thing, but I can handle it on my own. Steve puffed out his chest and started to walk off. Wait, see, and he's gone, Pain said. You should have sent one of us to check it out, Frederica said. Steve is capable of it. I'm sure whatever it is, he can stall it for a while until we come in to help him. Even if it's a player or a monster, he can handle it. What could go wrong? Pain replied. Just then, all the members heard a scream, making them turn their heads toward the sound. They saw one of their members running away frantically, stumbling as the ground began to shake a bit, and shadowy monsters started to emerge from the forest. Everyone, prepare to fight! Pain shouted as they formed up. Then a loud roar echoed from above, making some of the members shiver in fear. As the congregation looked up, they saw a monster riding on the back of a flying dragon. What is that? Frederica shouted. It must be some kind of boss. Dread exclaimed. What do we do, Pain? Drag asked. You guys handle the army. I'll take down that thing above, Pain said, making everyone nod. Then another loud roar resonated from above, causing everyone to look in astonishment as the once blue sky was now blocked by a dark cloud with lightning flashing through it. As the monster raised its sword with a loud roar, the shadow monsters began charging at them. Without wasting time, Frederica, Drag, Dread, and the rest rushed to meet the monsters in the middle while Pain contemplated how to bring that monster down to the ground. Frederica, help me make that flying dragon land. Pain shouted. On it. Frederica replied, using Multi-Water Bullet, but it had no effect on the dragon. She then tried Multi-Fire Bullet, only for the dragon to dodge. What kind of monster is that? My spell didn't even affect it, she exclaimed. Frederica, it's fine. I'll think of another way to take that monster down, Pain declared. Suddenly, a loud roar echoed through the air, causing the members to look up and see a massive beam descending toward them. Dread activated Godspeed, narrowly dodging the attack, while Drag and half of their guild were caught in its path and knocked out in an instant. Everyone retreat! Pain shouted, fully aware that they couldn't win against that creature. As the guild scrambled to escape, Pain charged into the fray, wielding Holy Blade of Conviction and swiftly dispatching the shadow monsters in one blow, which forced the remaining foes to retreat. He paused, glancing at the monster above as it too began to withdraw, finding the situation peculiar. With Void, we see Void on his feet, astonished that Pain could wield light magic as he eliminated some of his monsters. He recalled his creatures back to the shadows and hurried back to their guild house, anticipating what to expect from the congregation of the Holy Sword in their next encounter. Third floor Unknown Island. In a third-person perspective, we find Void standing before his new summon, which he named Bor. Flashback. After the battle with the congregation of the Holy Sword, Void returned to the guild house, waiting for his guildmates to come back. On his way, he had taken care of some livestock. Once everyone was back, they found Void playing with Boros and Isildur, tossing a ball around. After discussing the event, they turned their conversation to what had transpired with the Holy Sword. Void explained the encounter and distributed scrolls containing Godspeed, Fissure, Stampede, and Multi-Water Bullet. After some deliberation, Sally received Godspeed and Multi-Water Bullet, Kasumi got Godspeed, Mai and Yui received Fissure and Stampede, and Kanade added Multi-Water Bullet to his archives. The others did not acquire new skills due to their playstyle or class. They chatted for a while, and since the developers had made the third floor accessible after the event, they decided to be the first to explore it, especially since Maple wanted to showcase something new. Upon reaching the entrance, they faced a guardian that let out a roar for intimidation, which had no effect on the group. Maple then activated a new skill called Predator, summoning a creature from her shadow. The others looked at Void for an explanation, but he shrugged, equally puzzled. Maple's summon began to attack the guardian fiercely. Out of nowhere, she unleashed another skill called Atrocity, transforming her shield into a massive sphere that expanded until a colossal arm emerged, followed by another and another, until a gigantic monster erupted from it, roaring triumphantly and swiftly defeating the guardian. Once Maple returned to her original form, they entered the third floor, which had a steampunk theme. They split up to cover more ground. Void took the opportunity to explore, soaking in the new environment. While he was admiring the view, a new message appeared. Quest, Jeju Island Raid. Reward? Accept? YN. Knowing what was about to unfold, Void readied his army, holding Sin and Punishment, and pressed Y. He was teleported to a beach, where he noticed a mountain in the center of the island. Suddenly, the ground trembled, and he scanned the area for the source of the disturbance. He heard screeching noises from the mountain and wasted no time summoning all his shadows, taking a defensive stance. Flying ants emerged from the mountain, circling the island overhead. As the ground continued to shake, Void realized the ants were surrounding him and his troops. Without hesitation, he commanded his army to attack. Void watched as his forces decimated the ants, with Boros and Isildur by his side. Tusk ignited a forest fire, Red Sanic zipped through the ants, Articuno struck with ice, Decay summoned from the sidelines, Sylvan used vines to ensnare the ants, and Azazel rode on Kaisel, slaying ants from above while opening portals to summon demons. Handsome Squidward defended Void from any ants that got too close. Igris and Tapk fought side by side, while Tank and Anubis cleared a path through the forest toward the mountain. The rest of the shadows joined in the battle as well. As Void made his way toward the mountain, protected by his army, he arrived at the entrance, where most of the ants had been reduced to particles. He stepped inside to discover a network of tunnels. Not wanting to get lost, he sent Red Sanic ahead to scout. After waiting for a minute, Void suddenly felt a pressure emanating from deeper within the tunnels, followed by the sensation of Red Sanic's defeat, forcing him to wait an hour to resummon him. Void approached the source of the pressure, discovering a cave filled with eggs and a massive ant laying them. With sin and punishment in hand, he began to eliminate the eggs and their queen. As he surveyed the now empty cave, he felt a presence behind him. Turning around, he faced a black ant radiating the pressure he had sensed earlier. Sizing up his opponent, the ant suddenly vanished, reappearing in front of him and attempting to strike. Void reacted swiftly, cutting off its arm. Seizing the opportunity, he stabbed the ant in the chest, causing it to disintegrate into particles. Standing victorious, Void's army soon joined him as a message appeared. Quest: Jeju Island raid complete. Reward: 1 wish. Void thought it was best to save it for a rainy day, and his wish turned into a coupon. He looked towards the orb of the ant he had just defeated and said, "Arise." And there stood the ant in all its glory, then kneeled with its wings fully displayed. The shadow was a commander rank, waiting for Void to name him. After a moment of thought, Void named the shadow Burr, inspired by a bit of Korean his friend had taught him. End of flashback. Void then went outside and added about 8,000 more ants to his army. Feeling that his quest was already complete, he returned to the guild house where everyone had agreed to meet up. Time skip. We see everyone gathered around the table, with Maple in the middle. They discussed their findings from the 3rd floor. After everyone shared their discoveries, they all turned to Maple. She puffed up her chest with a closed-eyed smile and expressed her eagerness to find a place to showcase her new skill. They headed to a crater, with Maple in the center and the others on the edge. Suddenly, she manifested a cannon on her arm and fired a beam that obliterated the targeted area. Everyone on the sidelines unanimously agreed on one thing: Maple truly was overpowered. Our favorite ant, Baru, is here. And that's it for HypedLol's Corner. Hope you still enjoy the book as it approaches its conclusion. Until Season 2 arrives, have an amazing day and stay safe. Bye. Chapter End. Maple Tree Guild House. Third-person POV. After days of collecting materials and leveling up, Maple's guild was more than ready for the 4th event. We see our players in their home, eagerly awaiting the start of the event. Not long after, Kasumi tapped the table, causing Drazo to suddenly appear, and a message popped up. Roar, thank you for your patience, everyone. I shall now explain the rules of the 4th event, the inter-guild battle. So listen up. Drazo announced with excitement, prompting applause from the players. As stated in the announcement made in advance, you will not be allowed to step in or drop out halfway through the event. The duration of this event will be 5 days in event time DRA. Guilds will be divided into big, middle, and small ranks depending on the prerequisites, and each rank will have a different number of points to earn DRA. Each guild will have its own base, and they will be awarded points for defending their orb at their base or bringing other orbs to their base DRA. If your orb is with your guild, you will earn 1 point every 6 hours. Small guilds will receive 2 points, while big and middle guilds will earn 1 point. You will also earn points if you bring another guild's orb and guard it for 3 hours. Please note that if it is taken back before the 3-hour timer is up, there will be no increase or decrease in points DRA. There are also death penalties. I'm tired from talking. If you have any questions, just pull up the navigation screen DRA. Good luck to all the participants. After that lengthy explanation, Drazo soon left in pixels, allowing the members of Maple Tree to discuss amongst themselves. To summarize their conversation, everyone except Sally, Void, Crom, and Kasumi would defend the orb while the 4 would venture out to collect orbs and create chaos. Before the event could truly begin, they all started preparing and checking their equipment. The members went outside and participated in a team bonding exercise as Drazo's voice could be heard officiating the start of the 4th event, the inter-guild battle, teleporting them to their base for the duration of the event. In a cave, the Maple Tree members looked at their new base as they formed a circle to discuss their strategy. They all nodded, and the 4 bid their farewells while the rest stayed behind, wishing them good luck. The 3 set off first to find potential targets, leaving Void behind to summon all of his army in all its glory. Decay remained in the cave, summoning monsters to defend their base from the outside. Void took a deep breath, exhaling smoke into the sky as he gazed at his army behind him, planning to make himself well known in all of NWO as the Monarch. He raised his weapon high in the air and shouted, "Let's show these newcomers what it means to face a pro." Pure toxic gameplay. His army responded with excitement, banging their weapons on the ground, their chests, or their shields. With an army of over 12,000 soldiers, including 800 elites, 6 elite knights, 7 commanders, and 1 grand marshal, Void was ready for battle. Unbeknownst to everyone in his guild or even across the entire game, the developers had added a feature that allowed players to boost their summons with a song, described by the devs as, to hype them up for battle. During his preparations, Void managed to create 2 songs that were downright nerve-chilling, one for entrance and another for battle, because why not? He hotkeyed them for easy access. Void's plan was to destroy everything in his path, letting players know who controlled the monsters always seen on the map and during events, while also cementing his name as one of the players on par with Maple. Not wasting any time, he began his march for world domination, orb collecting. Time skip. Voices echoed around him as players shouted in disbelief, "This is cheating! How can that girl summon so many monsters? What are the devs doing? Why are there monsters on the map?" While Void glanced at his inventory, he collected another orb, making it his 10th, while being guarded by Azazel, Igris, and Baru, as the others overwhelmed the entire player base. Void looked around to see that there were still some players left. Wanting to appear as a demon lord, he commanded his troops to round up the survivors. The players found themselves surrounded by shadowy monsters, fear evident on their faces. Void stepped forward and said in a cheerful voice, "Hi. The name's Void, the Monarch. What are you doing on this fine day?" The players exchanged confused glances. With a mischievous smile and a playful laugh, Void continued in the same cheerful tone, "If you want to live, go and spread the name Void, the Monarch, to anyone you encounter, and tell them that if they ever cross him, they should be prepared to face an army." "Okay." He tilted his head in a charming manner. The players nodded as Void guided them through the midst of his army. Over time, those who had been spared began to spread the name of Void, the Monarch, to anyone willing to heed their warnings. Many dismissed their tales as mere tricks to instill fear, only to find themselves ambushed by the Monarch and his forces. Survivors continued to share their accounts, even posting on the official forum about him. The entire player base was thrown into chaos as another player, as powerful as Maple, was identified as a member of her guild. Players began to view Void as another unbeatable force, much like Maple, which made many hesitant to attack Mapletree due to its formidable members. Others, however, saw this as a chance to make a name for themselves, prompting rival guilds to strengthen their defenses against Void's army. Thus, the player community bestowed upon him the title of the Monarch. In the dead of night, players pursued a lone figure toward a rope bridge. Some of their guild members had already crossed to the other side. As the players shouted orders and cast spells to retrieve their stolen orbs, the solo player remained unfazed, a grin spreading across his face. The guild members, confident in their numbers, believed victory was assured, only to be swiftly defeated by the solo player's unexpected attack, which required no skills to back him up. As the guild members unleashed spell after spell, all of which he effortlessly dodged, the solo player suddenly severed half of the bridge, causing it to collapse and taking down several pursuers. He seized the other end of the rope and swung himself across the ravine. As he landed, he propelled himself upward, soaring above the heads of the remaining players. Miraculously, their skills missed him as he hung in the air, and he let out a battle cry while preparing his sword. He landed in the center of the group, executing a swift circular motion that sent the guild members scattering into particles. When the fight concluded, the solo player stood tall, illuminated by the moonlight, revealing a striking figure with long blonde hair clad in blue and white armor, wielding a great sword. From the shadows of the forest, a figure emerged. "I expected no less from you. Even against such overwhelming odds, you didn't rely on any skills." "Pain," the newcomer remarked, observing the blonde hero. "Drag? It would have been nice if you had helped me out back there," Pain replied, his demeanor calm despite the chaos. "How's the harvest?" Drag inquired. "I lost count, Pain admitted, glancing at the many orbs scattered on the ground. About 20, huh? You know, I think you could take on every guild by yourself, Drag suggested. I'm not so sure, especially against that guild, Pain said, gazing at the moon with a smile. You mean Maple Tree, right? Drag asked, returning the smile. In the cave base of Maple Tree, members gathered, aware of Void's army lurking in the shadows. They discussed their strategy to rank among the top 20, planning to seize orbs from other guilds while protecting their own. This time, Void had left Articuno behind for defense. The group split up again, aiming to collect as many orbs as possible. As Void surveyed the remnants of yet another guild's base, he held his 20th orb, flanked by Azazel and Baru, with Igris guarding his rear. Suddenly he received a message from Sally, who was in danger with a significant number of orbs. Without hesitation, he commanded his army to retreat into his shadow, except for Kaisel. Mounting Kaisel, he raced to Sally's location, arriving at a devastated forest filled with ash and craters. He quickly checked in with his friends, relieved to learn that Maple had arrived just in time to assist Sally. As he scanned the area for survivors, Kaisel landed on a cliff. Hearing voices and marching, he concealed himself and crept closer. He spotted a girl in blue armor, surrounded by soldiers, ranting about a recent battle. "What kind of skill was that?" she exclaimed. "It was too overpowered. She wiped out most of our forces." "She really is a monster," a soldier agreed, prompting nods from the others. Void typed in the chat, inquiring if a girl and soldiers in blue armor had attacked them. He quickly received confirmation from Sally and Maple. Summoning his army quietly, he positioned them around the area. Once he was sure they were ready, he straightened his posture and walked into view, clapping slowly with a chuckle to announce his presence. The girl and her soldiers immediately aimed their weapons at him. "Who are you?" she shouted. "Me? Well, I'm Void." "What's your name?" I asked with a gentle smile. They instantly recognized me, laughing and calling out that I was bluffing. I just smiled and snapped my fingers, summoning my army from the woods into the clearing. My elite knights and commanders stood by my side, their expressions reflecting their irritation at the players who had laughed at me. Suddenly, I received a message from Sally, informing me that the one who attacked her was from the Holy Sword Guild. An understanding dawned on me as I remembered where I had seen them before. "So you guys are from that Holy Sword Guild?" I said with a smile. "And you must be the monarch everyone is talking about," the girl, whose name I now recalled was Frederica, replied. Her eyes widened as she looked at Azazel. I turned to Azazel and smiled. "So you remember Azazel? He was the one who attacked you the other day, if I recall," I said. Before she could respond, a soldier shouted, "For the congregation!" The others followed his lead, charging into battle with fierce determination, forcing Frederica to join the fray. I sighed and snapped my fingers, my army charging in to engage them head-on. I thought to myself, I really need to research how to make my army more organized and stronger. Lost in my thoughts, I suddenly noticed the eerie silence around me. I looked around to see that my shadows remained, while no one from the Holy Sword Guild had survived. I nodded in acknowledgement of our success and returned to base to deposit my orbs. Time skip. After depositing my orbs, my team began discussing the next part of the plan, where we would switch roles. I sighed in relief as I lay down on the ground next to Sally, who was peacefully asleep, making me smile as I drifted off to my own dreams, leaving my troops to guard our base. Another time skip. As I awoke to the world shaking around me, I opened my eyes to see Maple, Mai, and Yui returning with a handful of orbs, enough to boost us into the top 3 on the leaderboard. I sighed, prompting the others to glance at me. "What's wrong?" Sally asked. "Do you guys mind if I go to where the Holy Sword Guild is?" I asked with an awkward smile. "What are you planning to do?" Kasumi inquired. "Nothing much, I just wanted to take their orb," I said, looking down and fidgeting with my fingers. "I don't mind," everyone replied, leaving me in shock. "Why?" I couldn't help but ask. They encouraged me, saying that if I wanted to do it, I should go ahead, as I was strong enough to protect myself and that Maple was there to defend me as well. With that settled, I bid them a quick goodbye, summoned Kaisel, and we flew off toward the Holy Sword Guild, unaware that 4 players were making their way toward our base. Time skip. As I looked down at my unsuspecting targets, ready to unleash my onslaught, I raised my hand to the midnight sky, summoning my army to take defensive positions. I found it odd that I didn't see their core members anywhere, but I shrugged it off and commanded my troops to begin their assault. I watched as players turned into particles, left and right, leaving no survivors. I waited from above, anticipating my victory. Eventually, I landed in the center of their once proud base, greeted by my Grand Marshal and commanders, while my elite knights prepared a royal procession. Feeling proud of my victory but exhausted from staying in the game for so long, I went to grab the orb only to find it missing. It took me a moment to realize that the orb was not there. Just as I was about to command my army to find out who took it, I received a stream of messages and notifications. I quickly learned from my team that they had been attacked and needed me back immediately. Grumbling at the situation, I sighed, commanded my army to return, and flew back to base on Kaisel. Time skip. Upon my return, I found everyone discussing something animatedly. They filled me in on what had happened, mainly the fight between Payne's group and Maple's group, while I shared my encounter with the Holy Sword Guild. The leaderboard remained unchanged, and they outlined their plan to eliminate other guilds to keep the rankings stable. Before I knew it, I was battling players left and right, my army following suit as chaos erupted, turning the once beautiful landscape into a war zone. Time skip. From a third-person perspective, the event concluded with the majority of guilds wiped out, thanks to an unspoken temporary alliance. Between the top 3 guilds, the Congregation of the Holy Sword, the Kingdom of the Flame Emperor, and Mapletree. The next day, we saw Mapletree celebrating their victory with the other top guilds, who had been invited by Maple. Void approached Payne's group, apologizing for his actions, but they brushed it off, saying, "It's part of the game," and added each other as friends. Void did the same with Me's group, introducing himself simply as Void, feeling embarrassed as they exclaimed, "You're the Monarch?" Payne and Me's group explained who he was, causing Sally and Maple to laugh out loud, leaving everyone else confused. Sally then revealed Void's embarrassing secret that he had once been a Chunibyu and called himself the Monarch. Everyone laughed, but they couldn't help but, at the sight of Void looking adorably embarrassed. As the highlights of the previous day's event began to play, most focused on Maple and Void's adventures. As time passed, they spent the day joking, drinking, and eating, enjoying each other's company to the fullest. And so, the journey continues. I made it longer than usual since it's the final chapter until Season 2 airs. Thanks for all the support on my first ever book. It really means a lot. 20k plus views and 700 plus stars. I truly didn't expect such support, but I am incredibly grateful. Hope you all have a nice day until next time. Stay safe and be yourself. Chapter End. Unknown location. In a vast open field, Maple and Void stood facing each other, ready for a showdown, while the other members waited eagerly on the sidelines for the spectacle to begin. Flashback. It was just another day in NWO, with players exploring and gathering experience or materials. Some were enjoying the scenery, while others relished the camaraderie in their guild house. This was the case for Mapletree until Kane posed an intriguing question. Who would win in a fight, Void or Maple? The debate ignited, with half the group believing Maple would triumph and the other half supporting Void. As the discussion progressed, the question became more focused until everyone settled on one. Who would win in a fight between Void and Maple? One-on-one, all skills allowed. Excitement filled the air as everyone agreed to witness the outcome, especially Void himself, while Maple was equally enthusiastic. End of flashback. Now back in the present, Sally took on the role of officiator for the duel. She typed in the chat, "On go. 3, 2, 1, go." Maple immediately activated Loving Sacrifice and Predator, while Void summoned his entire army and unleashed Monarch's domain. With a strategic move, he surrounded Maple with his army, placing the shield users at the front. With a commanding shout, Void called out, "Attack!" Maple responded with a surprised, "Wah," before unleashing Poison Dragon. The once beautiful landscape transformed into a toxic wasteland. However, just because Void's army was undead didn't mean they were immune to debuffs. Maple's attack successfully inflicted a poison effect on Void's soldiers, though Void himself remained unaffected thanks to Hearth's embrace. Still, the strain on his mana from healing his troops began to show. Void was uncertain about how debuffs like poison would affect him in this battle. Can actually defeat his army, so he was willing to take a risk to see if the effects would truly make a difference. He stopped healing one of the soldiers and resumed the attack. As his army closed in on her, they took down her 2 pets in the process. Once within reach, they began to strike at the light barrier. As Void prepared for her to switch tactics, he was taken aback to see her using Loving Sacrifice and Machine God simultaneously, but only on her right arm. She smiled and aimed at Void, launching a flurry of attacks. In an instant, Void began to move, dodging the guided missiles and beams aimed at him. His army absorbed the hits while he was busy evading. Maple used cover to position herself next to him, lifting her shield and swinging it at him. He dodged just in time, causing her to be hit by her own missiles. Seizing the opportunity, Void turned and unleashed MP Cut and Paralyzing Blow, but only managed to strike her shield. With a confident smile, she cast Paralyze Shout, immobilizing Void's entire army except for him. Realizing this, Maple attempted Foul Eater, but he deftly avoided it. This time, Void took the offensive, moving too swiftly for Maple to counter his attacks. He executed Moonlight Sonic, Flash Blink, and Backstab, all successfully landing hits on her, thanks to his armor-piercing skills and his active passive skills Poison Dagger and Blood Dagger, which had no effect on her. Void could command his army while fighting, but he had instructed them to attack as the battle began. As the paralysis and poison took their toll, half of his forces were lost since he had stopped healing them. The remaining soldiers charged into battle between Maple and Void. Seeing this, Maple summoned Syrup and used the skill that enlarged him, tasking him with fending off Void's forces. While Maple took hits, Void also endured damage from her skills, his armor becoming tattered from her Foul Eater. With Foul Eater maxed out, she unleashed Deathly Breath at his forces, who had defeated Syrup and were now charging toward her. As Maple focused on casting her skill, Void resumed his assault, pushing her health into the red while depleting his own mana. As she completed Deathly Breath, she activated Atrocity. Void found himself unable to act due to his low mana, unable to use a potion because of the established rules, and one of his skills primarily targeting higher-level players. He sighed as he glanced at his army, using the little mana he had left to heal them. He commanded Azazel and Decay to summon more monsters, restoring his forces to a semblance of their original strength at the start of the duel. They made their last stand as Maple finished transforming, and Void, ready to go down, stood with his soul ablaze and daggers in hand. As Maple let out a battle cry, Void shouted, "Charge!" Just as she was preparing her beam, she was unexpectedly uppercut by Red Sanic, giving Void and his army the chance to reach her and unleash their barrage of attacks. Tusk debuffed her while the others attacked with all their might. Void contributed with basic attacks, as he was starting to run low on mana. While Void's army fought with everything they had, Maple somehow charged her beam, wiping out half of Void's forces. They continued to clash, not caring who they were targeting. In an incredible turn of events, Void managed to defeat Maple in her final boss form, but at the cost of his entire army. The land around them was left in ruins, filled with ash and soot, and flames flickered in the aftermath. Both combatants stood still, exhausted from the battle. Taking his chance, Void knocked Maple's shield aside and began to strike at her, reducing her health to a sliver with one final slash and shout. He successfully landed the hit, but lost the fight due to Maple's indomitable guardian, which allowed her to counterattack with her dagger, turning Void into particles and securing her victory. Unknown location. 5 beings known as the developers observed the fight and recorded it. As they watched the duel, they became excited by the sight of 2 powerful beings battling to the end, with the underdog emerging victorious. After the fight, they quickly posted it on their website, creating a massive buzz in the forums about how strong Mapletree truly was and how they wanted to challenge that guild, aiming to make a name for themselves.